I'm a hella hype. We are here, ladies and gentlemen. It is finally time for the APAC Regional Finals. If you guys are just tuning on in, well, where have you been for the past few months? Because you have had the best Apex action this side of the Pacific. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Dax here with Mr. APAC South himself, Genome. I'm sorry, man. I've only come back after disappearing into the void at the end of last month, even leaving our good friend Elfish alone for that interview. But we are back. We are here, and this is it. We still have a few more slots available to see who's going to make it to LAN.
Regional finals, man. Always the most exciting week of the split. As you said, 3 teams have already booked their tickets to London. That is, of course, Moist, Onyx, and Blackhand. They're sitting at the top of the standings, way above everyone else. They've done a fantastic job so far this split, but still that means we've got 2 slots left. Now, it does depend on it does depend a little bit, right, on who wins the regional finals, where those go, because if one of those teams that have already won them, you know, it could go via points, but if not, well, you could have one lucky team down the bottom. Who knows? Could be SWQ, you know, a 20th place team here that could grab that golden ticket.
I mean, they clutched it out last week, right? They were able to make it to, I believe, around the podium position, especially in one of their matchups there. I'm also looking forward to perhaps really the resurgence of a certain number of teams. You look, of course, at IBG. The potential is there. They made the land before, and already Strafing Flame and Blackhand is gonna make it there to begin with. You got Dewa, you got MDY White, you got AGL, who has some of the best highs and some of the lowest lows, and of course, there's Dreamfire as well as Tomyan Kung as well. But we've had quite a schedule up for you guys over the past, I'd say, few months. We're already done with Split 1. We're here in Split 2, and you can see we're still in our online Pro League, but in the end, the top 5 that we have here, including the winner of today's regional finals, will make it to the LAN. And of course, Genome, we still got a championship all the way at the end of this, I'd say, split.
Exactly. So depending on, you know, who makes it to this regional finals, that's a big deciding factor in who gets to go to the championships. There'll be a couple of last chance qualifier slots up for you know, for any of these teams who don't quite make it there to have a chance and play with the big dogs at the end of the year. But if you want to qualify for that, essentially you need to get points that come from LAN performances.
Yeah, absolutely. And we always think about especially how APAC South really brings their A game to the world stage. 4 out of our 5 representatives the last time around on LAN were able to make it to the finals, and you can see it here, our schedule. We're done with the dates in March, we're done with the dates in April, and we are here on our final day. No really back-to-back groups anymore here in the regional finals. We go back to that match point format that we all know and love. So maybe we're gonna have the quickest day ever, just like last split, or perhaps this time around that was just an anomaly. This time we're gonna get even more games with such a highly contested, I'd say, field here this time around, you know.
It's always so locked in, so tight, so different to the rest of the split when you get to that final lobby and we finally get to see the best 20 teams going up against each other. And man, it's gonna be no different this week, I can tell you. We've also got a couple of other surprises. I'll leave it out for when we get to the Beacon, especially, because, yeah, it's interesting. We haven't seen a regional finals like this before. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, it's gonna get pretty hot, especially on those drops later on. I'm still surprised the Beacon hasn't gotten that rebrand as of yet with the Revelry changes, right? We talked about it. I believe me and Elfish were able to talk about it. It's no longer the Beacon, right? It's that console instead. Can we get that rebrand? The Beacon, the console, semantics aside, you know. I'm sorry, I'm changing it up immediately.
Hey man, look, the survey beacon's still in the game, okay?
Yes,
all right.
yes.
It gives you a different type of information.
True, I mean, it reveals where these guys will be at the start.
Exactly.
So I'll let it pass. Exactly. But before anything else, I saw on the Twitter real quick, you were discussing without me. You were talking to certain Nessies before anything else about what's going to be going on. So what was heard? What was the inside juice that the Nessie gave you?
Yeah, look, just getting some different opinions, Dax. It's all right. You don't have to feel too left out. Yeah, I mean, look, there was much said, but I was just trying to work out, you know, who were going to be those final 2 people getting their slots in. I was just getting the Nessie's take on it. And I got to say, she agreed with me. They reckon AGL is getting through and might be grabbing, therefore, might be on the top line of the prizing here with, as you can see, top 5. You'd get over $3,500 for that. And this, more than ever, is in play today where teams determine where they will end up. I guess just like the slots, we're not going to change those first 3. So even if you got that ticket to land, that wouldn't necessarily net you that first place prize.
Absolutely. It's really just the standings that we have. And speaking of the standings especially, it's time to take a glimpse of it in the first place. You can see now, in first place is Moist Esports. Moist and Onyx, all throughout the season, all throughout the split, have been absolutely neck and neck in the standings. There were times, and honestly, most of the time, it was Onyx on top. But after what we saw there last week, Moist just having that monster game in their final group, bringing them all the way to the very top of the standings there. And then Onyx, in the meantime, struggling until they found those wins in map 4 and map 6 instead. Blackhand there in third place, 115 points, also verifying themselves for that LAN. But really, this is where the spicy part happens. From 4th to around, I'd say, 8th place. Dreamfire, AGL, MD White, Devil United, and Tomyan Kung so close to one another when they're contesting for those slots in LAN.
Yeah, no doubt at all. It really is like those 4-5 teams there that we're going to be keeping our eyes on. Below that, I think, you were like 70 points or below. So looking at like, say, Popcorn, Buriram down from there, it's a really tough ask, I think, for them to go any higher. And I believe personally that they would probably have to take out a first place if they wanted to make it over to LAN. I don't think they're going to squeak past all those other teams. Like, even if you came second place, right? Because obviously if you come first place, you just automatically go through.
Yep.
So the 21 points that you would get from coming in second place, that's very, very unlikely to push you over teams like, you'd have to beat all of, let's say Dreamfire, AGL, MDY, Daewoo, Tomyan Kung, pretty much as well. And that's just saying all of those teams are going to perform poorly is definitely a bet that I wouldn't take.
And it's so out of your hands because it really feels like it's all about those standings. It's all about how those points play. And you still have to factor in that Moist, Onyx, and Blackhand are there and will usually take some of those top spots away from you. So you need that golden ticket. You need that big win. And when I think about that kind of situation, it's really a must-win scenario for teams like IBG, Wonton Dumpling, and even the super clutch SWQ that made it to that top 20 slot at the very end. There's still that prize money that we saw a while ago that these guys are playing for. But of course, the biggest prize of them all is to be booked a ticket in ALGS Express and move on over to London too.
Yeah, man, gotta get a ride on those. Gotta get a ride on the ALGS Airways overseas, right? That's what these guys really want. All right, look, we've got a couple of teams to look at as well this week, Dax. So the first one I want to have a chat about, of course, it's these teams on the bubble, right? The teams that we just mentioned that are in with a chance here to make it guaranteed via points, not necessarily having to get that first. And the first one is Dreamfire.
Yeah, when you look at Dreamfire, this is a team that honestly was so close at the last split. And eventually they did make it because Devil United couldn't make it to LAN itself. You got 3MC, you got Bitbite, and you got Roy, of course. And when you look at Dreamfire, there's always that question, why aren't they performing to the highest level at certain dates? And then on other dates, they're able to just win it all out. There's always that pedigree, there's always that firepower. And I do wonder this time if they can make it very quickly. I look back into the regional finals last time. They had that monster game at the start, right? They were so close at getting to match point immediately, but then they couldn't get the job done. And then it was the Moist Esports triple victory in a row. And it wasn't enough for them to make it through the points itself. So what do you think right now? Do you think Dreamfire has a chance, especially with the standings that they have here?
Of course, I absolutely think Dreamfire are in with a chance, right? I mean, points-wise, that's pretty obvious, but even just in the way they play and their skill level in general, I think. But the most interesting part to me is that they've really looked like a different Dreamfire this split. And we saw some of that transition start to happen in Split 1, where they did seem to have a little bit of a split identity in terms of they'd always been this heavy fragging team, and then they were sort of starting to play a bit more zone, which of course tends to work out, especially in lobbies like this at the finals. But if we go and look at, say, the kill leaderboard at the moment, right? Pete's down at 17th with 45, Roy just behind him at 44. They're not in contention. for winning a lot of kills, right? And that is definitely not the Dreamfire of old, but hey, it's netted them 4th place. You know, they actually have more placement points per game than Moist, Onyx, Blackhand so far this split, which is just crazy. They've only got 3.39 kills per game. It's a very different playstyle from Dreamfire so far, and how they've been getting their points. This split is very different to what we saw, for instance, when they were dominating in Year 2.
Yeah, it's just sometimes really that identity shift. And we look again at another team as well. AGL, I believe, is something we love to talk about, especially after we saw them all the way back in week 2 and day 2. And we remember, they brought out that Mad Maggie. They got that back-to-back-to-back win all the way in World's Edge. And you have QQ, you have Jackie, and you have Bolin. This squad is such, I'd say, reminiscent of what we saw a bit from Dreamfire way back when. They have that fragging potential, but they still love to play the zone right now. It seems like here for AGL, though, that it's really the highest of the highs, but the lowest of the lows sometimes, and that consistency is what AGL is looking for to bring them to the top.
Yeah, well, you got to think about where they've had all of that success, right? And of course, it was that one big game. It was that one big day they had earlier on, as you mentioned, but it was all on World's Edge. Right? That was the thing. They won 3 games in a row, all on World's Edge. So the thing that I always start to think about, especially coming into regional finals, is when you're getting to that 50-point threshold, right? Which we haven't recapped just yet, but we will in a second. You know, you've got to think about which maps you're taking the wins on. And, you know, if you happen to get to 50 points and, you know, all of a sudden we're switching over to the 2 Storm Point maps, you know, because we'll be playing the maps in rotation 2 by 2 by 2, you know, it becomes a little bit tougher. And they're obviously doing far better on World's Edge with 3 wins. Their points per game sitting up at 8.9 on World's Edge versus 6.9 on Storm Point.
Yeah, and speaking of Storm Point, we can check out where these guys are going to be landing. The beacon is looking revamped and even better than before. And this is something you were so hyped about coming into this broadcast, right? So many interesting configurations as we're going to see here. So many interesting contests as well. And of course, besides the usual suspects that we have all the way here at the northeast side of the map, all the way by Lightning Rod, that we have, of course, DNC as well as ADL contesting one another. There are more instances right now that we're gonna get this contest, especially on Storm Point.
Yeah, I mean, with so many contests, right? We've got 3 contests happening here, and just as we saw there's also a bit of a wild card, okay? AGL, who we've put there on High Point, this is only one of the landing spots that they've decided to go for today, okay? We have heard that they are deciding to randomly drop between 3 different spots today, okay? They are thinking about going to High Point, to Checkpoint, and Shipfall, and nobody knows. Like, so we may see them drop at all 3 of those landing points today. It's not like they're going to choose one and stick to it for the day necessarily. As far as I understand, it might just depend on where the dropship is coming from, you know, who they feel like they can beat in the contest at the moment today. AGL have one of the most interesting drop strategies that we have ever seen, especially in a finals lobby. And I guess that's the other thing, Dax, here, that as we can see, yet another contest coming in here. We've got IBG versus Golden Sage. Golden Sage are actually going to be contested on both maps coming into today. So they're going to be fighting over Antenna, but we've never ever seen this many contests in a final lobby, just because when we think about it, this is where everything's on the line, right? This is the most important one of all. So to not just give yourself that chance to play your own game, you know, to have a drop spot to yourself and then just get the clear rotate, it just seems wild that we've had so many teams willing to contest from the get-go. I guess the one other thing we should mention is there, you know, SWQ and Eternal Photon over at Northpad. They had been contesting throughout scrims. Apparently in a last-minute change, it seems like Eternal Photon might be going to the IMC Armory over near where Northpad is. That is, of course, something we saw, say, Truth do throughout the split. Just play from the IMC. It can be quite strong just by itself. So we may not see that necessarily as a direct contest, but they both will still be in the area.
Yeah, so just to recap it, guys, we have 3 direct contests here on the Storm Point. One team who will just be landing around anywhere and anywhere they can be. And I like that from AGL because we criticize, I'd say, their Storm Point game compared to the World's Edge. They haven't found that secret sauce as of yet, and maybe just being that variance will allow them to get even better placing and let them through Stormport that way. But honestly, what I really want to talk about is what we have between Onyx and Dreamfire. People have been hearing things on the social media, but it's still that same configuration. Down beast for Onyx, Dreamfire for the Mill. There just has been so many times that the Mill has ended up being where our ring will pull towards to. So it's really understandable right now. That's something to watch out for very early on too.
Yeah, definitely have had a lot of circles over towards Mill and Bean so far this split. I will give you that. We haven't had many up towards, you know, say top right near where ADL and DNZ are contesting. Again, I mean, they've been doing it for the whole split, right? There's a couple of contests here that are surprising us, but that one almost doesn't because these guys have just been running their head into a brick wall again and again. And I guess one of the funny things is it hasn't been particularly one-sided, and that's probably one of the reasons why it's still going. I mean, if a team was just getting absolutely, you know, just stomped every single week, right? That's when you'd start to think, okay, why have you not moved away? You're obviously just getting 0 points. But if they were doing that, I suppose neither of them would be in the regional finals, right? Both of them have done well enough, you know, to make it into that top 20, but they're still not separating themselves from the other team enough. And, you know, in a format like this, and let's touch on that now, I think, you know, you really need to be racking up those points fast and grabbing the wins. Because, of course, today, guys, it is the regional final. So it plays out a little differently than it does on a usual day, right? This isn't a series of 6 games where you just have to win the most points and you know, just be good on average. What happens in regional finals is you need to get to 50 points first, and then you need to win a game to win. And, of course, that winner will be the one going overseas. So a little bit different in regional finals, but it's always exciting, right? Because it always means the final team that wins is the one that walks away with the victory at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you can see it on your screens, right? Match point eligibility, once you reach that 50 points, it doesn't matter if you win now. You need to make those points in the first place. And I've noticed here that the rotation, it's no longer in 3s, but in 2s. We start in Storm Point, then we go in World's Edge, then we move again back to Storm Point if we need to go on. And we can be here all day, or we can make history yet again and be even quicker than last time around. I asked you a while ago, do you think that Moist will be able to do what they did last time? And you were like, no, not gonna happen. There's much more of a, I'd say, a contest here. But come on, give me an estimate. How many games do you think will go for today?
Yeah, and to be clear, if you're asking me if I think they can win, the answer is absolutely yes, right? If you're asking me if they can do it again in 5, I'd say no, that's pretty unlikely. I mean, they are clearly the best team in the region right now. Does that mean they'll come out with a win today? Oof, you know, hard to say. We'll see. I was talking to some of the players about this, and I was like, I reckon it's about a 25% chance for Moist to win, for Onyx to win, for Blackhand to win, and then I would give almost the rest of the lobby the other 25% chance, right? I think that's how good those top 3 teams are and how likely they are to close out the game, you know, once they're getting to 50 points ahead of the rest of the teams, like I imagine could happen.
These guys are a different league. That's the truth. They've gone all the way to over 100 points. They've been so consistent in the placing, in the wins, and I wouldn't be surprised to see one of those 3 teams actually take this whole lobby and be that first seed moving forward. But I think that's really the question right now. Can Moist prove that they are the first seed? They've proven that they are incredible in the global stage. They've proven all throughout the stage that they have been absolutely strong day by day, week by week. But as we're now getting into the game, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. The regional finals are upon us, and here we go into Storm Point. Of course, with the early contest, you're gonna expect some quick action, and well, that's us. We're back here. I'm excited for this one, and you can see immediately Golden Sage. We talked about IBG contesting them on Antenna. Immediately there's contact now.
Yep, straight into it. There is one of the contests that we were talking about. There's 3 teams up at Lightning Rod, by the way. None of them actually fighting each other yet, so definitely good to keep the vision down here. But in terms of that AGL wildcard we were talking about. Just to let you guys know, they started over there, and then they're taking a Trident away. But just while we've got a little bit of a détente here between Golden Sage and IBG, waiting for them to sort of get the upper hand. These contests over at Antenna, always interesting. There's a lot of, you know, interesting terrain with the way the bottom of this POI plays out.
And there goes Phoenix already finding Jaro. IBG, they're desperate to find some good results today. It's their only way to make it to the land in the first place. Golden Sage, though, trying to top up as much as possible. You can see here that Golden Sage are going to be contested all throughout the day. They need to be consistent at winning these duels if they want to even stand a chance to wrap up those points.
Indeed, we've got Panna. Well, I assume it's Panna. Again, we've got some great name changes just to, you know, throw us off guard. Throw a spanner in the works. But certainly at least the Catalyst player for IBG is trying to make their way out. They're so low on health though. If they spot them out at all, it should be actually some easy shots for Golden Sage, but looks like there's a chance that they can get away. Other teams though, they're going to know that this is happening. So Popcorn, for instance, they've made a quick rotate up from Shipfall, and they may be onto Golden Sage back in no time at all.
Devil United also nearby, all the way towards Jurassic Park, but IBG, this is not the start that they wanted. We saw last time around, last split, they're the ones on top. They were the ones who took that first place, even against Moist Esports at the very end of the standings. Perhaps today we'll find them having some better games moving forward. DNZ though is one of the hot contests that we always talk about. They spot that AGL's Trident at, it flies on by his ADL though, staying on the eastern side instead. And here we go on the opposite end now. SWQ, you got them nearby. Paternal Photon, and Onyx also passing by as we see the ring pull already towards the center of the map here.
Yeah, we can see it going around sort of South Command Center, Stormcatcher sort of area, the hill below Stormcatcher. That's the kind of area I think we're going to see this pull. So, I mean, yep, we've got SWQ and EP, Eternal Photon, of course. As we said, they have split over there. And, yeah, they won't be getting into scuffle anytime soon. AGL, however, they've made a quick rotation down in the Trident, and it looks like they're trying to fight for supremacy over this building, but MDY White, of course, one of our teams that are contesting for that 4th, 5th land spot, have rotated nice and quickly here, starting out Stormcatcher and Thunderwatch that they do, and this is a great opportunity for them to hold down a very strong spot in the zone early on.
Yeah, there are 5 squads nearby right now. You got Moist contesting MDY White, as Devil United has the high ground against both AGL and Tom Young-Kung. And see here for Devil United, they've had a bit of a resurgence recently. Even without their star player from last split, there's still that potency, there's still that firepower. But Moist deciding, hey, we're gonna back on the way. And as of right now, what's the plan for Moist, you think, Genome? Do you think that we're gonna see for them play out yet again that zone kind of style? We last split, the last region of finals, they shifted over to the crypto, and they felt that that was the secret stuff to actually win it all. But this time, here in this split, they've been really the, I'd say, progenitors of the meta, one of the best at running this kind of composition. What do they need to change what they've done for the past few weeks?
Well, they have changed in the last couple of weeks, right? I mean, on World's Edge, you've seen them start to play the Wraith, which is already a bit of a difference. You're just going to see them Valk ult in over the top of Dewa right now, actually. And they're playing for the edge of the circle, the top of this hill, where they at least will have their backs clear by the end of this circle. That said, it could be a tense 2 minutes here, 3 minutes, waiting for that zone to close. And making sure that there's no one coming in behind them. They're gonna have shots down onto Dewa here. You can see they're struggling from both sides. It's gonna be Moist on top of them, and as well some other teams, MDY and AGL, shooting at them from over on Stormcatcher.
Again, not enough coverage, and Moist Esports slowly but surely just picking apart the opposition bit by bit. They just want to play the outskirts right now, and Moist Esports, I don't know what even to say more so about this team. This split, they've been setting records. They've had more wins immediately through their weeks compared to last time around, where they only had 2 during the regular season itself.
Had 7 this time.
Yeah, it's such a big contrast, right? That Moist now really trying to solidify that they are the top dog of APAC South.
And they feel like it this time as well. Remember, coming into the regional finals last time, it was, you know, it was a bit of a do or die situation. for them. This time they are locked in and they can play however they want to. They can, you know, even try and screw around with some other teams, try and dictate the fate of some other teams in APAC South because they are playing from such a strong position. Blackhand, of course, they are in exactly the same situation. As they roll in from the bottom, they've just gone past Panna, who was just sitting all the way down at ship 4 by himself, but then all the way up at ring, we've actually got Wonton Dumpling going up against Eternal Photon, having a bit of a battle in the zone.
Yeah, Eternal Photon trying to get away from such a aggressive squad in Wonton Dumpling. It's all about the cover. Yet again, the names do change all the time here for Wonton Dumpling. Got Guild Tripping XDZ, got E-Voice also. Wonton Dumpling to get into the ring and fast. Eternal Photon will just back on the way, move towards North Path instead. SWQ moving into the northwest. Goes on. Storm to do action.
Oh, it's a fun shift though. It's a fun shift. Interestingly, Moist Valcolting over towards Stormcatcher on the hill is probably actually going to hurt them. And Onyx, for once, have been quite lucky in terms of their position. Well, you know, you say lucky, maybe it's luck, maybe it's not, right? And as you can see with that circle down the bottom there, just got a glimpse of it, it's actually shifting over to the west. It's going towards mid-map, towards ski lift, and as a result, Onyx sitting in the top house there, on the top of the ski lift, is going to be in a prime position. MDY White, who had the buildings to the left, they've kind of hedged their bets, and they're going to be fine too, but everyone on the hill that we're looking at here, everyone in Stormcatcher, they are rotating next circle.
Yeah, everyone who gambled that this would be a Stormcatcher ring, well, they're gonna have to pull away later on. Yet again though, you look at Moist now, they're inside very fortified, but we've seen their struggles in the mid game happen because of these ring pulls. Once they're caught mid-transition, once they're caught in the crossfire, that's when other teams can take them down, and you can see that there's so many squads in front of them. You got Dewa, of course, still sticking around, but Stormcatcher, AGL inside the ring, Tumbi and Kong, and Buram United taking a spot from whence Moist came from. Popcorn and ADL Wolves, those finding each other now. The Trident just zooms by. These guys so quick, but Popcorn, they're gonna be running into another squad here. Buram United already taking pot shots at them. Moist Esports also keeping their doors closed against them.
Moist have got a lot of teams to worry about, and the other thing to think about here, Dax, is that they don't have the information. They don't know where this next circle is going, so they can only play off the teams around them. It's just a point of discussion that we often hear as we see ADL actually pushing up. Looks like they're trying to take out Kizix here, but Kizix is firing back with the Peacekeeper.
That's the problem, right? If you're getting gatekeep from that Stormcatcher area, Popcorn, though, gonna be gone. ADL Wolves eventually get that takedown, but you mentioned it. Without that information, they can't go for those quick rotations. They're effectively gatekeeping ADL Wolves right now, but beyond that, they're the ones who'll be surprised later on. And look at Buram also putting pressure on them.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? There's so many teams around them. They're like, okay, look, you know, these guys have read the circle too. They've seen the pool. Maybe they've scanned a beacon at some point. A beacon or a console, you know, just depends. And they're playing off them, so they're going to be very surprised when they're getting that sort of confirmation bias of everyone being in the same spot and then finding out that it's actually shifting left. So it'll be interesting to see where these rotations come out for these teams, whether they have to fight for their lives on the way over or whether they can make a quick decision and maybe even get a Valcolt out to move their way over.
And you look at what the next ring entails us. Blackhand has already gone onto the inside. Onyx and Blackhand just across one another here in that mountain lift. And this is where it gets really interesting. Some of these squads, they have some of these longer rotates. We've seen all throughout the season that Blackhand, they take their sweet. Since they have so much information, they have so much loot, and they have everything accessible to them, they can get straight into the action where they need to be. And this time around, it's Onyx and Blackhand the ones to watch out for this game.
Yeah, certainly they've got themselves set up at the moment. You know, both teams playing Seer and Cat, which will make it a little bit easier to get the goo down, reinforce the doors, and just fortify their positions just a little bit. But yeah, 14 seconds until we start to see the teams hit the panic button and be like, oh god, what have we done? We haven't read the circle correctly. How can we fix this?
Ever since we had that listen in, you also picked up the goo, didn't you?
Yeah, look, you do hear the players refer to it a lot as that.
What was the 3 words? Goo the door. Goo the door. It's I will never forget that call. And as we see right now, as the ring yet again now exposing all these other squads out into the open. MDY White looking better than ever into their next spot. They kept Moist at bay. They're happy to play that building, and well, they're rewarded for it, but how the ring is pulling yet again.
Yeah, maybe even the other teams that were looking, you know, remember AGL were thinking about taking that fight early on. Just imagine if they see this ring at the end and be like, damn, we should have just taken the 3v3. It would have been worth it to get a God spot where MDY White are sitting in that building to the west of Stormcatcher now. Other teams like Blackhand, they're going to be okay for now, but yeah, as we say, it's actually shifting more on top of that MDY White building. And both of the teams in Ski Lift will have to, especially Blackhand, right? They've got to make their way up the hill. We talk about that a lot as something that can be really tough in Storm Point. Trying to go up when you have a raise in elevation, it can be quite tough when people have got the height advantage over you.
Yeah, when you're crossing from south to north, contrast in the height itself. We're looking at Wonton Dumpling right now as they're moving in where Blackhand are stationed. Dreamfire also finally rotating away from Launchpad area and nearby as well. Immediately the Wonton Dumpling seeing the flights here. I do believe that was Dreamfire moving on the round, and honestly, I'm looking at MDY White still, who's in that ring, and I believe you mentioned it way back when that this squad is strong in the mid-round, strong in finding the rotations away from contact, but now with everyone converging at them, maybe that's going to be a bit more of a problem. 505 and DNZ finding each other command center.
Yeah, they were both hanging around Command Center, just waiting to see if anyone was going to make a rotation through either of the other entrances of Command Center. They haven't, so they're just going to be kind of taking each other on there, with DNZ slightly having the better position right now because the 505 essentially will have to push into them. But elsewhere, you've got so many other teams trying to move around. XNY are one of them. They're probably the eastmost team right now, apart from Moist Esports, who are rapidly making their approach with the Valcolt into the next circle. XNY will keep going at it, but yeah, as you can see, this is going to come to a head soon between 505 and DNZ.
Yeah, and eventually it's time for that contact, and here we have it. V throwing out the smokes. ADL Bulbasaur also meeting inside the ring at the south of Stormcatcher. Nades throw Thermite there as well to keep the pressure on. And while DNZ is winning out the fight on across the map, ADL Wolves absolutely in trouble. XP down and out already. ADL Wolves though bringing the fight to them. IBG eliminated along the way. ADL Wolves also will fall here, but inside the ring the job's not done. You have X and Y nearby. 505 in the meantime trying to stay alive here.
Yeah, they're struggling. It's a strong fighting composition on the other team, but it should be noted, Nexus on the Pathfinder. So, a couple of interesting choices coming out here, legend picks wise, but it's a Pyrrhic victory. Moist have gone up to the spot they started in, essentially, before they went over to the hill, and it's a quick cleanup for them. A couple of points now, 2 kills on the side of Moist.
Don trying to stay alive as well. Nades lobbed at them one more time. So dangerous to knock that shield. Trying to provide even a bit more cover here for Jelon, but it's so difficult. It's such a problem. And now Dreamfire is on the rampage. They want to make this push happen, and they find the targets that they need. Here comes Roy, and down goes the Eternal Photon. That's the kill that they need. Wanton dumped in. Blackhand nearby, though, ready to fight each other also.
Yeah, a couple of teams, you know, they aren't scared of a fight either, are they? Blackhand, they've moved out of the building. They're sort of searching for this, looking for it, but Wonton Dumpling have kept their eyes on the prize. XCZ, the seal player for them. This Chinese team is definitely keeping them apprised of what is going on right now. You can see a couple of the teams that have gone down already, but a nice spray there on the Nemesis from Strafing Flame is going to open up this fight for them. Blackhand now with the 2 red armors, I think, are probably going to make short work of this unless Dreamfire get involved.
Yeah, Blackhand, they want to find that immediately. Moist, though, in the meantime, will catch out Buram United, who has been stalking them all throughout. You look back at Blackhand, though. Strafing Flame, one of the strongest IGLs we have here, getting up with the kills, getting up the standings. And Blackhand now will take the fight to Wanton Dumpling. Strafing Flame, though, getting in position. And, well, Wanton Dumpling can't handle this whatsoever.
Makes sense. Blackhand had all the advantages, really, in that fight. But they still have to make this rotation, and it's such a rough one. I mean, half of the next zone is a mountain. Of course, you know, when that happens, just makes the playable space so much smaller. It's a really, really tough one for all of these teams. The early Valk ults, honestly, I'd say are probably going to be the better ones at this point. Looks like Dreamfire, they're opting to just sit on a tiny edge. There is a tiny bit on the edge of this mountain, I think, that's going to be in. Maybe. So, we'll see if they can do anything. Blackhand are about to third party this fight, though. They're going to roll up on X and Y and Dreamfire. Let's get a listen in here from Blackhand to see how they can get in this fight.
Let's hit him on the left.
What's safe? Nothing safe.
Just forward. I shouldn't have focused the team low
Well,
ground.
left him on the...
I know, that's why I
quick
called.
one. Unfortunately, they just couldn't really make it to the ring fast enough. I thought they might survive a little bit longer than that, considering they had they were kind of the surprise packet there with Dreamfire in an okay position and XMY kind of sandwiched between them. So I am a little bit surprised that they went down so fast right there, obviously, as we were too, trying to grab that listen in. But either way, Onyx has come down on the top now and is looking fantastic to clean up all of the rest of these teams.
Look, I can't believe that both Dreamfire and XNR are still technically alive here. They landed effectively on top of each other. And well, for XNY, he has the only one left. XNY, such a threat in the early game, but in these rotations, that's when they get caught pretty easily on. Yeah, this is going to be a problem. XNY falling down. Shady, though, confirming these takedowns already. Onyx just looking down at them, and while this all happens, Dreamfire will stray on away. So whatever Blackhand wanted to do a while ago, at least Onyx is able to capitalize on it.
Couple of kills in the bag now for Onyx. And it feels like there should be more, honestly. I mean, X and Y, you can see in Dreamfire, they're just stuck in such an awful position with 20 seconds left to go. I mean, Pete, I'm not sure if he... Oh, man, he almost went down to the ring there. He had like a sliver of health and went outside just to grab his teammate's banner. Doesn't even have time to pop health meds here. Doesn't have his Skyward Dive. I mean, I just don't really see how on earth Pete is going to get out of this situation. He's locked in a 1v1 duel. They've both got almost no health here. Just blasting the R9s. Yeah, there you go. I think they're just going down to the zone. Both of them, unfortunately, no chance. And everyone who was on the north side here, it's all up to them now. So 5 teams left.
No, while they were playing Arena, the rest of the squads were playing World's Edge, or rather Stormpoint. And here we go now, Moist Esports looking to get back to where Wednesday came. They looked to contest the north side of this building a while ago. They're trying to do so right now. Waltzing though down and out, empty, using him for cover. And you can see AGL trying to get at them on Esports though. Staying away from all the action. You got Devil United, you got still MDY White on the inside, but it's Moist in trouble as AGL just keeping them at bay. Arcstar Slop, they have to get into the ring. Empty, desperate just for survival, wraps around and moves over to the opposite end just to keep this team alive.
AGL and Onyx on the west and eastern sides, as you said, just biding their time, trying to come in when the time is right, when they can make use of their positioning and really just capitalize on the rest of the team sitting in the middle. Moist, obviously, just going to have to rat it out from now, and then MDY White, who have been playing Godspot well as Daewoo United. You remember, they were in Stormcatcher in all sorts of trouble when this game started out, but now they found position on top of this building. They've got all 3 members back up and running, a couple of kills even to their name, and it's been a big recovery for the Indonesian team.
I mean, Devil United has gatekept so many teams from that insult. Now they make it towards the roof, and because of the longer rotations of squad like Moist Esports, squads like AGL, they still had a path at least to survive and not get shot up while they were transiting here to the Godspot itself. But this ring will close on soon. Onyx, AGL, they've been waiting for opportunity, but now they're going to be forced to move forward.
All right, the ring starts to close in. AGL and Onyx, sure, they had some space up until now, but it's slowly going to get taken away from them. The circle will finish to the south of the building where we're looking at now, but it will actually be in for quite a while. Like, there's the people inside the building are actually safe for a fair amount of time here, and that also means that Daewoo are just going to be looking down upon all of these other teams and getting a lot of free fire. They've got Lahim on Bangalore as well. The Catalyst Wall still available for Bastion, so man, they've got so many opportunities to just play with their utility, to deal and mess around with the positioning from other teams.
Yeah, they can just be right on top of MDI White, wait for the timing of when them will go on the outskirts themselves. Spikes being thrown here. You have still the bombardment available even for Lahim. So as you mentioned, Daewoo United fully kitted for whatever they need in this fight. This ring though, closing in closer and closer on AGL, finding each other already. Daewoo United still powerful position on the high ground. This altitude keeping them in such a good spot.
Okay, team starting to take some casualties here. Jackie won, the star from AGL, is the first to go down. Just a sliver now of the roof left in. Can Daewoo make enough of this before they have to drop?
They jump down, and it will be MDY White finding on it first. Mingyu though with the takedowns, and here comes Daewoo United to clean up house. They had the high ground, and now they are going to be your champions. Daewoo United gets on the board first.
Solid victory and a big comeback there from Daewoo United. Indonesian team choosing Bangalore over the Valkyrie in their composition, as some Stormpoint teams are wont to do. MDY White, they are the team that lands Stormcatcher and Thunderwatch. They had priority to this zone and they used it to perfection. They read the circle, unlike a lot of the other teams, and that means they end up with 5th with 5 kills as well. The kills actually quite spread out throughout the teams in this zone. It wasn't like we had a big point sponge here. 9 kills for X and Y actually was the highest total we saw so far this game, and that means it's interesting, right? Like we've you were talking about having Moist come out, and get to that 50 points really quickly, like they had in some of the other, well, at least the last regional finals we saw, Dax. And if we keep getting spreads like this, that means a longer day, right? That means we will be, going the distance if teams aren't just racking up 20, 30-point games to start with.
And then, especially with all the different compositions that we have, we're getting some Watsons, we're getting more Bangalores, we've seen a Wraith as well being brought on out. We got Pathfinder here. It's time for these teams to bring out their pocket picks and just impress us. But you can see, especially, the early contests have screwed over a few teams. A lot of teams like Ironbud Gaming struggling there. 80 Wolves being found on out. In the end, though, just really the spots that have provided you more utility, more of that insult. Daewoo United played that to perfection. They got 6 kills out of that one, and just because that they kept, I mentioned this a while ago, just because they kept teams like Moist at bay, teams like AGL at bay, that they had to play on that low ground instead, they just found that right timing once there was chaos, especially on the west side, when Blackhand, Onyx, X and Y, and Dreamfire all found each other. That was the timing for the likes of Daewoo United to get in position, and they were completely rewarded for it by just watching over everyone like hawks and then feasting on that prey from that point on.
It was fun to watch, wasn't it? They were really dominating from the high ground and dominating our first game in first place, as we can see there. I mean, moving on, MDY White, a team who really has to do well. Well, sorry, they don't have to do well. They need to have a solid performance today, and they could get in via points, or they could just take out the whole thing and really surprise us. But keen to see what the scoreboard looks like after that first game. For anyone who's a match point veteran, just want to point out that this, the new format this year with the splits, you don't get any points advantage going into today. So none of these teams are getting, the 1 to 10 points from seeding or anything like that. Everyone starts on 0. They have earned every single one of the points that you see on the screen in front of you. And as we said, no team even grabbing 20 points from the first game. So it is a decent spread here.
Yeah, there's a lot of variance right now, and well, we see it here. Devil United takes that top spot. MDY White in second. X and Y, though, with all the kills early on, they will take that third place. And that's what really impressed me about the side of X and Y. This squad, early on, they can get these kills, but it's really those placements later on that screw them over. So I do wonder if they're going to be a force yet again that can find these takedowns early on, and especially against some of the big players that we have here.
Yeah, it's that's a big question for us. Would depend highly on the zone as well, I suppose. You know, with Dewa having a fairly easy rotation and getting in there quickly. It was a fantastic performance from them to start off with. But certainly lots of teams still in the running.
Yeah, well, guys, we'll call for a break. And when we return, we will go back into Storepoint. You guys are tuning on in to the ALGS APAC South Regional Finals. We'll see a champion later on. But for now, we'll see you guys later for more of these maps.
Carl does the same. At the minute, he's been going through like all the VODs from APAC South, NAEU, yada yada, just mapping out all the zones and like stuff like that. So we see like certain trends happening with certain zones, whether they pull back or not, and things such as that. VOD reviewing is not something we did or got heavily into when it was just us three. But with the addition of Carl, we'd like set aside some time to be able to do that every day. And it's just been like getting into the nitty gritty of figuring out what is like individual mistakes and just clearing them up. So the workload on MT has been, reduced by quite a bit, and Carl's really picking up the slack. Personally, I going into Sweden and the time around Sweden when I was with MT and Jaro, I was kind of a wreck mentally. Didn't really want to be there at the time. So it's understandable that, I got the boot straight after, and they picked up the Walter, and then they started, he started farming, and then they wanted me back after champs. And I think playing with Waltzy and just how he, I guess, communicates with us, or I'm not sure the exact word for it, but he like hypes us up whenever we do something, and just that feeling of confidence just like carries us. This time around, just MT was calling everything solidly. Waltzy was just frying. I was doing my part, just like more of an anchor role. But overall, it felt like we were a lot more cohesive, like MT and I from Sweden, and then the addition of Waltzy just made everything better because of the firepower. Yeah. And I feel like if I'm going into this next split of London as confident as I was during the first split of London, I feel like it's just going to go really smoothly because MT has been on his fucking A game this whole split. And if he's calling like he has this whole split, I don't think we're never going to not end up in an end zone. Trying to figure out how to get a paycheck was 2 hours for us, Coming top 3 in every tourney is kind of easy. So we're living nicely. Being able to get signed and be under the banner of Moist is definitely a dream come true. Like, just being able to be in connection with Charlie or Moist Critical, and just everyone under the brand that, whenever we do well, I always pop into the Moist Esports Discord, and there's always like Charlie and the upper management always saying like, good shit boys, you did amazing today. And then being able to go back and watch Charlie watch partying us. The first finals that we did, that we won 3 back-to-back games, going back and watching Charlie watch that, it was such a good feeling. But I haven't won an LGS event yet.
Oh, well, look, not a global lad. I mean, hey, you've got some trophies.
Not any LGS event. 0 LGS wins under my belt.
Did you not?
Nope.
Oh, I guess you guys didn't.
We won the finals, but we didn't win the Pro League, so I don't count
true.
it.
Okay. All right, needs more trophies.
And well, it was great to hear from Pricey. Great interview, by the way. I would love to hear the rest of that. But we're straight back into Storepoint, ladies and gentlemen. You are back to the region finals. This is game number 2. And here we go yet again. No matter what, we're going to get those early contests. We're watching Tommy and Kung, though, immediately launch onto Launchpad. But look at this here, Genome. Golden Sage gets Antenna for themselves. IBG go for Jurassic Park instead.
Indeed. AGL, they've split themselves this time, so Bolin once again is sitting down near the lightning rods IMC, and he'll probably grab the Trident and go over. As we can see here, Golden Sage, after winning the first one, do manage to get Antenna, which leaves IBG with Jurassic. Much worse of a POI since they removed the ring console from it. Only has a survey beacon now. And ADL Wolves, yeah, once again, they are splitting this with D and Z, who have just taken the gravity cannon back down the bottom. They've spotted out Bolin once again. Grand Theft Auto for that man. He is on his way out with the Trident and going back to the other two members of his team who are looting up at High Point. So, interesting that we've already had some changes to see some of those contests, yeah, go a different way, I suppose.
I mean, you can experiment once here in the regional finals, but you know you still need to rack up those points. And I feel like I see deja vu from just this whole northeast side, but this time it wasn't ADL Wolves who went for the armory, or rather it wasn't DNC, it was the Wolves. It was them finding that Trident out, but in the end AGL just doing the exact same thing and reconvening with one another on High Point. The ring though looking pretty interesting. This time around it moves over to the west side compared to the east. Moist Esports already took time to get in position. IBG actually following right behind them and taking Cascade Falls when they can inside the ring though, all the way in checkpoint. And I guess this is the most interesting part right now as we're watching Dewa pass by 505 in the armory, is what will happen between Onyx and Dreamfire, as Dreamfire is the one trying to circumvent Down Beast.
Yeah, exactly. That's Down Beast is certainly the hot POI right now with where this zone is shifting. As you can see, the locals up and in position. Onyx currently sitting, all three of them, on top, or at least about to be on top. Shady's just, he's about to drive the Trident up on top and give them even more cover on top of the Beast itself. And Dreamfire, just coming up from the mill, will be sitting on the backside, where you got to remember, we saw, I think it was SWQ,
yeah,
I want to say, win like the last Down Beast circle we saw here, and they won it playing essentially the head glitches on the side of the C of the Down Beast. That one might have been a little further out towards the C though, so I'm not sure if it's going to be quite as easy for Dreamfire to play that position.
It was the spot that Dreamfire is at right now. I remember that because one of them disconnected, and they still pretty much won it. But this time around, Popcorn running into them, and Dreamfire looking to the microwave to cook them over. NPC already going on down. Dreamfire has such a good spot here. They just watch out for the waters, and now they're trying to drown out the opposition. This Trident cannot provide any much coverage for Popcorn. They're eliminated so early on here.
Absolutely so quick. I'm not sure if they were expecting Dreamfire to be there. They probably should have, honestly. I mean, this is a fantastic spot to see. As we were just mentioning, we've seen it, you know, be fantastic in just very, very recently. So it's no surprise that a couple of teams are trying to take up position there, but Popcorn can't do it, and they will go down early once again. So that puts Dreamfire in an even better position. Couple of loot boxes. You know, they've got that Trident there that might be useful to just crab walk their way forward if they need to, and have some makeshift cover even further on. But going up to Northpad as well, a couple of teams running into each other up there. Buri Ram, you can see Lala Bang just went down, and Dopgaps is by himself, unfortunately, now. SWQ, they're thinking about third-partying this. Zerol's going down.
Yeah, trench warfare now, and into the buildings we go. Little bit of focus of attention. AGL trying to get that intel early on, and with the Arctars being lobbed, QQ, good damage done here towards the doorway. SWQ on the opposite end still. It's 3v3, and well, they're effectively gatekeeping one another right now. The corpses of Buram United nearby. SWQ though, try at the very least to get on the inside, but AGL holding them at bay as much as possible. Watson face fence also, just trying to draw a line with the disengage.
Okay. Without any first down happening on QQ, AGL. Yeah, look, I think they're in a world of hurt here. Bolin's going to use Into the Void just to try and get out, but with the full finishes coming down on the rest of his teammate, I don't know if he's going to be surviving this for long. Pricey has actually spotted it out. He's looking at this with the infamous charge rifle, but the fun doesn't stop there. IBG, not content with their performance in the first game, are going to try and make an early difference, but it's an early death for Jarrow instead.
Yeah, MDY White finding Jaro there, and IBG wanted to be that new challenger. Same spot SWQ had, but now they're caught between two squads. SWQ, though, still ready to play aggressive. The Dark Veil in the way just to provide that cover. Will keep SWQ at least on the opposite end. Donut now taking damage. MDY White sees them coming. IBG, at the very least, survived the fight to live another day. And well, we have an interesting SWQ sandwich, but that pushed against AGL. They were being reeled into the Watson setup, but SWQ is still resilient and still powerful to win that out.
I mean, that was hilarious. I love that the overview there where we saw SWQ spraying through the Dark Veil, hoping that they'd catch some tags, but you can see IBG too fast for them. They'd already made it through to safety. Well, safety for now, at least, I suppose. And I guess you could say the same for Bolin, who you can see doesn't have a lot of cover. He's, you know, sort of sitting on the edge of Gallipoli there on one of those, what were they called? The things that they deployed, like, on the beach to try and keep people safe like this. I can't remember.
What? It's, back in the war? Back in my
Yeah!
day?
Yeah.
They're kind of like tank traps, basically. So the point of that, if I remember my history correctly,
Oh, okay. Here we go.
If they bring the boats and they bring a tank, you can't really drive the tank past the beach.
Right.
Since that's in the way. And, well, people can use it for cover.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Bolin does hit like a tank sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. He's honestly one of the best. You can see it really from his region. But now this ring, of course, pulling yet again. And whenever you see down piece, you know it's time to get in there. And with that intel, squads like Moist, squads like Onic, Devil United, inside the ring, they're all in position. But IBG, just because they lost one and had to disengage from both MDY White and SWQ, they're in a better spot than they expected.
Yeah, perhaps. And you can see charge rifles are plenty. It's a weapon that's had a lot of discussion this split. I mean, it's interesting, I think, mainly because it hasn't really changed much, right? But teams have suddenly just come to this realization how powerful this gun is, how annoying it can be, how many meds you can drain with it, how easily you can charge up the Evo armors. I feel like it was mainly known for that. But especially the effect it's had on the meta and how easy it is now to drop Valks out of the sky with the reduction in height, in range, in speed, all of those different rotation even when you're going up into the Skyward Dive. There's just so many sort of different nerfs here that the Skyward Dive has had and made the charge rifle even more impactful when you think about you know, how we've seen the rise of Bang on Stormpoint and now it's starting to be the rise of Wraith on World's Edge.
Yeah, it's a strong resource drain, and it's a strong way to make your Evo shields red. But, Gino, guess who's a big fan of that gun?
Is it you?
No, not me. I like it enough. Not to the extent that Elfish was talking about last time around when you weren't here. The one time Gino wasn't here on an APAC South broadcast, we were able to talk about maybe the forbidden jutsus, the forbidden things, and this charge rifle. Yes, indeed. I agree with you. This is very strong, especially in these early rings. With that red versus them down, pick up that other gun, or if you're really a charge rifle aficionado with a chef's kiss there, then you're happy to play it out. But MDY White, well, Feiju looking at one side, gets hit on the other. I do believe that was Eternal Photon, who has been lurking towards Northpad for quite a while. Now they're making the transit because they need to move into Down B soon.
Yeah, I think it was the Nemesis 2 coming through from Eternal Photon behind them. Of course, we're very happy that we've had some audio fixes since the last week, and that means, you know, because I was just looking at that being like, man, that could have been a down, like, last week, right? Like, that'd be the kind of shots that, you know, perhaps that you would struggle to hear sometimes, and then, you know, the players just haven't been able to react fast enough. So good to see that has had changes, some fixes come through for it, and we're seeing the players being able to make those quick adaptations, and especially considering how strong this gun is, considering how much damage it does if you get a full clip, a full burst from the burst rifle on someone else. And I think there's you know, the players who have adapted to that, who have learned that recoil, especially, not that there's a lot, have just been absolutely crazy with that gun.
It's so smooth, and it's, I believe, the second most used gun here for good reason, only losing out to the R99 that looks stronger than ever. And, well, if you're running those SMGs, you know you're very good. You're good at lasering people down. Eternal Photon, though, still looking around for MDY White. They've taken so much high ground, and they have a lot of space to work with on the Northpad side. But if they can't actually beat out MDY White here, rotating towards checkpoint. 505 and Wanton Dumpling also having a bit of their skirmish, but it's still that standoff here by the trenches. Both sides just keeping cover as much as possible. Eternal Photon though realizes now that they can't go back from whence they came. ADL Wolves taking that position, and this forces EP to go into the trenches themselves.
Yeah, a couple teams over in checkpoint, and these ones in North Pad also trying to work out how they make the next rotation happening. You know, they don't have the information, of course, but it definitely is shifting over towards down Beast. They probably would have predicted that. They just haven't been able to sort of find a position open to them, or perhaps they were hoping for a few scuffles on the outside. As you can see here, the two remaining players of IBG trying their best to play big, to look at these other teams and scare them off, but I don't think you're going to have an easy time scaring off this team. SWQ.
SWQ. Last week, they had an incredible run. They are here because of their efforts recently, and while IBG will call for the disengage, we see the ring now pull, and it's for Moist Esports. They call that northern side of Down Beast, and it's looking pretty content moving into the next one. Teams like Dreamfire, they have to move on away already. Dewa United, Onyx this time around. It's Dewa on the inside, but watching ADL rifle, they still have a bit of distance. They're just trying to take a few pot shots. Shields away from Moist Esports especially, and allow them to move forward that way if ever. It's such a death trap though if you move through the waterway itself.
Yeah, it really is. Unless you've got, you know, maybe a bit of Trident cover, maybe a Wraith portal even, but as we said, we're not going to see a lot of that. I think, is it, AGL? Might be the only Wraith team we've got at the moment. Just looking around, yeah, I think they're the only ones playing Wraith, Watson, and Sia. Interesting composition coming out from that team. Dewa, they're on the inside right now.
Yep.
And DNZ, like usual, they're on the outside. The way outside.
What's new for DNZ? And look, the raids do come during World's Edge, not so much here on Starpoint, as Golden Sage actually gonna get found out here by Dewa United. As it stands though, Black Hand and DNZ taking their sweet time. We always notice this from Black Hand. If they see that Down Beast ring, they realize, okay, we can take so much time since everyone will be swarming towards the pull itself.
Oh, no.
Now then, they're flying high. It's dangerous though. Strafing Flame looking to lead the charge. Spot shots though from On Esports, not really connecting. They want to go to where inside the ring is stationed. Can they take the building across them? Yes, they do. So Black Hand at least on the inside right now, staying safe, fortifying themselves with the barricades too.
Nice find for Black Hand. The only team, actually, I was looking at these stats before, they are second in ring damage, and DNZ, of course, who we were looking at, are at least two of their members, the highest in terms of taking ring damage, you know, playing that storm stacking style, playing outside that we've seen of anyone. We did just go back to Moist Esports there quickly. I think it was Pricey who might have got dropped, but they picked him up again. They are trying to fight off ADL Wolves, and some other teams over at Checkpoint here, potentially looking at each other as well. Tom Young Kung, they went down pretty low, but they're trying to take on X and Y. Here's that fight between ADL Wolves and Moist. They are a lot of ultimates committed, so I'm not sure if they're going to necessarily end up, you know, taking the full 3v3, maybe just rotating around each other, but it's certainly, it was very close to happening.
Yeah, Darfail's there, and I do believe at Moist Esports finding the utility, the exhibit there of ADL Wolves. So at the very least, there's more intel here from Moist Esports trying to go for the focus of attention, and they just change positions. Tom Young Kung has been eliminated there by DNZ and XY. Here we go again. No, Moist Esports now looking to push on forward, gets the cracks on despite the smoke in the way. Cover sure applied by ADL Wolves, but Moist Esports knows exactly where they are on the opposite end. X and Y though fighting towards checkpoint. DNZ and Wanton Dumpling having their own standoff too. So really both sides of the equation right now, both sides of the map having that contact.
Yeah, it was a very iffy there, whether, you know, they need to take that fight or not. Because I can tell you, the ring is pulling exactly where these guys are. If they win the fight, they're in a fantastic position to take the entire game. Dreamfire, I'm sure, eventually will swing around on them. But for the moment, this could be essentially what decides first place. I mean, there's a lot to play before then, but, you know, this is definitely one of the options for that. You can see a couple of teams going down on the outside. DNZ were trying to hold out some people from Checkpoint, did so successfully, but then did manage to lose a player as well.
Yeah, Wonton Dumpling there, putting that pressure on, and well, Moist and Esports as well, ADL still having stand-up. Buram United, their single rat
Here we go.
sneaking on in. Eventually, though, ADL Wolves will find Moist
No.
Esports and vice
They back
versa.
off again.
Eventually, they back on away. Heck is down sure for the Wolves, but beyond that, they're still given the time to reset and go for the top of 2.
Okay, well, this is SWQ versus Ironblood Gaming. And those guys, it's been a slow siege by SWQ. They were just pushing through the trenches very, very slowly. I'm sure they're aware with the heartbeat sensor that there's only 2 of Ironblood Gaming in front of them. But it looks like they are actually going to get the reset off player K. He's already used the focus of attention, so that means he can't cancel it. And it's a bit of a shame that, they've had that opportunity to, to strike first, I guess, in this 2v3, but then they can't capitalize on it, and now they're getting re-pushed by SWQ, and there you go. They're going to go down. I think they really had to take the fight then if there was any chance. May not have been able to anyway, but it was kind of, a slow death there for IBG.
Yeah, Vicky also getting into the action. SWQ, though, still the home invaders, and one more time they get the push going. While this happened, though, MDY White was the ones who actually smited ADL Wolves from afar, doing the job that Moist Esports was trying to do. SWQ now gonna get eliminated, caught out there in their prime. AGL desperate to get in position. Bolin trying to survive, but we look at Black Hand as they push on forward. DNZ nearby inside the ring, looking at them too, alongside Wonton Dumpling. Black Hand, though, keeping in cover as much as possible. Swarm yet again with the missiles. They know someone's nearby. They know that DNZ is looking for an opportunity here at the very least to survive with Joker. And as we watch AGL also trying to survive here from
God, how is he
MDY
still
White's
alive?
rat. There's just so many of these rats, these solo players just in the middle of these squads trying to take advantage of the chaos.
Well, we saw about 8 false starts for Moist trying to take out ADL, but they finally did it, or at least they combined with some other teams to get that done. I can see a lot of kills on the side of Dreamfire, so maybe it was them helping them out. Onyx, they haven't actually managed to grab a KP yet themselves. Oh no, they just got one of their first ones. But I was about to say, there's 700 damage on Shady, almost 800 on Raki. The guys up the top have certainly been putting damage in and starting to run out of ammo as well because they've been up there for so long. But it hasn't converted into a lot of KP for them yet. So hopefully they can play the top here well enough to slide down and start doing some more work here. Start ticking those points over and helping their chances to win out today, to get on top of Moist. Remember, obviously, these guys going neck and neck. Onyx in second place overall right now, and they need a good day. They need to get a better placing than Moist if they want to take out first place.
Yeah, and Onyx, they drop here down Beast for good reason. Once this ring is stationed here, they're happy to play on the high ground. And we've seen from Onyx so many times, they take things like
a little
Bean,
bit
they
of
take
calm.
God Rock, and calm before the storm. Sure, Onyx still in position here to watch out for anyone coming their way. Moist Esports taking the position. ADL Wolves as left behind. DNC found out eventually by Dewa United. And you mentioned it, Onyx, when will get the kill? When will they get the confirmed kills? When will they get the takedowns? Blackhand, though, flying on by, trying to get back in position. But look who's watching them. It's Dreamfire. Blackhand versus Dreamfire now. Shady also getting into the action. Onyx realizes this is their opportunity to rack up some points, get some takedowns too. Blackhand only left with Boogie. MD White eliminated alongside Blackhand, and it's Dreamfire hurting now. Can Roy survive here for the medkit? There comes the artillery yet again. Onyx now dropping on down. Dewa ITR all gone too. 3 squads remaining. Onyx in the middle, Moist on to the right. Dreamfire trying at their desperation to survive here.
I think there was a double bang ult there potentially coming out from Onyx and Dewa at the same time, so no wonder Dreamfire are kind of looking like they're in shambles at the moment. This is 100% a Moist victory. They have waited on the backside of this, and it took them all of about 2 seconds to finish that third party. So Onyx, they pulled up there to take out Dreamfire, and then you can see Moist basically just looked at them, and the remnants of those 2 teams just fell over.
Yeah, just reminiscent of how they won last split, right? That third party at the very end, watching these squads face off against each other. And it was such a I don't know how to say it for terms proper on broadcast, but it was always a tease from Moist Esports. You think they're gonna fight, and then no. They're gonna think they're gonna go again, and then no. And eventually, the fight doesn't even come to them. It just falls in front of them for that victory. And Moist, they always do that. When they get the intel, they give themselves such a good opportunity to win.
Yeah, and you can't disagree with how they played it out, right? Like you know, they finish the game, they get 8 kills. Yeah, you certainly can't second guess MT's calling. You know, there's lots that will say, you know, he's got, you know, he's the best IGL in the region. Some have even said to me they think he's got the best macro in the world. So it's, you know, it's big. A lot of lauding has been done of this man and his ability to command a team, his ability to call zones, and you certainly can't disagree with the results that he's managed to pull up for Moist so far this split.
Now, well, for me, this is my question now, or this is my statement. Well, that's the one. There's the first one from Moist Esports. Do we get more from them? Is this the beginning of the end? Because there is this hype for good reason for Moist Esports, even though they have proven to be the best we have from APAC South. The stats from last split, it was still that chicken sandwich squad, now IBG, that was on top at the very end. Can they confirm it this time? Can they be that #1 seed moving into LAN from APAC South? Well, a win here with those 8 kills that you mentioned, super instrumental for that. Dreamfire, though, 9 takedowns, taking it to that second place. Onyx, they wanted to go for the third party versus Blackhand and Dreamfire, and instead, they were the ones caught in the crossfire. They were there in the middle. Devil United making it, though, to that 4th place, keeping them still in a good contention, too, for that top spot. And speaking of the scoring, the scoreboard itself, I do wonder who's at the very top right now. It's Moist Esports. Devil United dropping down to 2nd.
Damn, dude, 30 points? That's not that far away.
Oh, no.
That is not that far away from 50 points, is all I'm saying right now. Oh, Dax. You asked me at the start of today, like, is there any chance it happens again? I was like, 0% chance, man. That's like a once-in-a-lifetime way to play out a final lobby, but I can't argue that they're a better Moist than they were in Split 1, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm second-guessing myself and saying, why not? Why can't it happen again?
I feel like such a giggly schoolgirl because of this. They are now 3/5 of the way there. They are 30 out of the 50 points. So there's a chance in this world, in this reality, that we might just go 4 games. But after all of that, we're gonna need to call for a break. World's Edge will be next. We're gonna hear on some words as well. We'll see you guys on the other side here at the regional finals.
Kind of had like this friendly competition between us and Moist for going first. Obviously, we kind of choked a bit in the last week, but it's been just like a really good, just as it should be, just a, kind of like a 3v3 at the end of the day between us two.
Okay, so you don't think that Blackhand is in that conversation then?
I mean, they definitely are, and I gotta give strafing respect. He's done it on 2 teams. He's played this region very well, but until this LAN is finished, I am yet to give him any international credit. His team's performance at the latest LAN was definitely subpar. But if he proves me wrong and competes very, very well in London, then I'll shut up and give him his props. It's definitely massive, especially coaches. Having a good coach can mean the world of difference. They'll see something that you 3 might not. They will go over stuff like that you might not want to. They will just do anything. Like a good coach will obviously go over anything you really need and should figure out what you need to do to improve. And as for like the analyst side, same kind of thing. We'll like find stuff that no one else can find, especially the DZ one. He is insane when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Okay, so what was the
do a lot of psycho peaks. I will kind of just burn meds when I don't need to, and I've been like working on that. Sometimes we won't make a play. We'll just sit there with our tails between our legs. And at the end of the day, it's much better doing a stupid play and maybe getting 3 points on the board than sitting there and just dying for free.
Okay, yeah. Good things to work on. Okay, look, you're known as an opinionated player, I'll say. Give me your wish list of what would make Apex the best game it could be.
Well, number 1.
I know it's coming.
We need to fix the audio because this is
there we go.
Piss
there
take. The game is not in a good state competitively. I don't see how it's in a good state casually. And then going past that, scan meta has to go. It's a joke, something I don't think any player likes. And at the same time, I'm very keen. If Scam does go, I'm very keen to see what happens to certain teams. So yeah, those are probably my two biggest things.
Okay. And what about sort of, looking at like scrims or, the way players play the game, anything like that? Is there anything like that you would wish for if, just pretend I'm Robin Williams, the genie. What are the three wishes you'd go for there?
Nah, but on a real, the two teams that I think will make it would DF. I think they're pretty much a shoo-in, and I want them to come with us. They're definitely still top 5 strongest teams in my opinion. And for 5th spot, I want TYK because I love the boys over at TYK, but they definitely need to lock it in. Some of the plays they've been making have been questionable. So for the 5th spot, I say it'd be mainly between AGL and TYK and maybe MDY White. Personally, I'd rather contest for, let's say, like Mill or Cascades than land like High Point or Jurassic or something. And I know firsthand how important it is to get your drop spots. We hard-headed the hell out of Bean at LAN, conned Moist for it as well, and just refused to leave because we knew that could be beneficial for us. And that did carry over because I will always think that I can be, if I'm not better than someone, I can be better than someone, or if in the game I think I'm better than everyone. And like, even if it's not true, I'll just think I am, and I'll use that to kind of get me through a lot of things and keep my mental good.
Alert 5, Valkyrie actual. Ready for burn.
Moist Esports is on the board and everyone has taken notice. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the regional finals. We are moving from Store Point to World's Edge. I'm Dax here with Genome yet again. And we know in the format, it's quicker on the rotation, so we get these this next map a little earlier on. And we can check out the beacon because I know you have so much to talk about, Genome, especially as we get a few contests yet again.
Once again, it is madness here in the regional finals, and for World's Edge, we're running it back on the contests basically. So down the south here, not necessarily as much action going on. You've got Moist in Siphon as usual, basically the god spot of all POIs to start out in. And not so much action down here, but honestly, any kind of contest in regional finals, to my mind, frankly, is a little cray-cray. SWQ, DNZ cohabiting almost with Big Maud and Lava City. You gotta remember, SWQ, they were almost about to be contested on Storm Point as well, but with Eternal Photon moving away at the last moment, that's helped them out a little bit. Here you can see Popcorn and Golden Sage are looking at contesting over on Fragment East, and ADL Wolves, as well as Eternal Photon, looking at contesting down at Overlook. So that's where our eyes are going to be glued, probably, at the start of these matches, especially, they're close to each other. They could win something. They could third party. A team like Blackhand, who loves to take fights and play edge, they could come in and take advantage of either of those. So definitely some exciting stuff we've got potentially happening here. And look, we'll be getting to the game soon. I can tell you already I've seen one change up to what we thought was going to happen. So why don't we just get straight into the game, Dax?
Yeah, looking pretty crowded on the north side, and immediately here we watch DNZ. They're on the floor. ADL being quite a problem for them. And well, DNZ, at the very least, trying to survive as much as possible. ADL Wolves just knocking on their doorstep. Kenton trying to fight the Wolves. Will fall this time, and DNZ hold down Lava City.
Okay, so we saw they had their names on it. Ooh, getting a little shirty about it as well. They were like, hey guys, what are you doing here? This is our
Can't
POI.
do that. We call dibs.
Yeah, exactly. So we say goodbye to ADL Wolves. Now, I guess if you guys are wondering, like, how we come up with those beacons and stuff, obviously, there's a lot of these scrims that happen during the weekend. The teams talk about it. They do call dibs on these POIs, right? So ADL had been playing a lot up at Overlook, but you can see today they decide maybe it's a better contest for them. Maybe they feel like, they've got a better shot against DNZ. So they go down to Lava City instead of Overlook this time. It's still a contest for them, just in a different spot. And it doesn't quite work out for them this time.
I can't believe they did that again to DNZ, because they always do it against them in Storm Point. So maybe that confidence, familiar faces, familiar opponents, you want to screw them over? Sure, why not? But honestly, I thought how you made the beacon was you knocked on their boot camps and you had the clipboard and like, hi, I'm Genome, I'm Mr. APAC South myself. Would you tell me your drop spot? This is the checklist. This is the dibs, I thought we did that.
Maybe at LAN. I'll do that
LAN.
one. So
Okay,
I'll bring the clipboard with me next time.
Yes!
Okay.
I love it. Do it for me. Do it for APAC South.
Maybe just like chuck some fake glasses on as well, just to make myself look a little bit more scientific as I'm doing it. Okay, we're getting some vision of the ring right now. I will note the other change we've had as well. So like, we were checking in with some of these teams. Shout out to Draga, for helping me out, contact some of those teams, try and work out what was happening. Whether they were going to change, whether they were going to stick with the spots that they were during scrims. And yeah, look, to the best of our knowledge, it was Popcorn who were thinking about going Fragment East. But as you can see, they've actually shifted down to Dome, which was free. So I think that's a smart decision for them. Just like we saw some of the other teams like IBG go to Jurassic in Game 2 of Storm Point. Once you lose a contest, and do you really want to do that in regional finals? Is that really the time to sort these things out? I don't necessarily think so.
Yeah, it's such a coin flip so early on, and when every map matters, especially when a team can put themselves on match point immediately, you can't be wasting maps like this. And well, the ADL Wolves, they've been doing this all throughout the season, all throughout the split. Might as well do it again against the NC. But already we see the ring pulling towards the north side, and into Skyhook we go. Every single time we see a Skyhook fight, a Skyhook ring, it does come into Urban Chaos. And Dreamfire this time, usually the position taken by teams like God, they're the ones at the center of that POI. Blackhand looking to mobilize as well. IBG, Devil United taking buildings too, alongside Onyx, Tumyan Kung, Golden Sage, and AGL for the roll call.
So as we do move up towards Skyhook, perhaps we'll get a slightly more calm down, chiller version of the games that we've seen so far, Dax. That's that's the tempo that we do see over in Skyhook. That said, a couple of teams running into close proximity to each other at the moment. MDY White, one of those who are looking right now inside the ring, presumably the team has given them that information. The Devo ripping it out with the turbocharger from up on high. That's a meal. He's only got a couple of clips for it, so I hope he puts them to good use. But for the moment, these guys actually, they have. I was about to say, what are they doing over in? It looked like they were going to stick around in Frag West there for a second, but Inside the Ring do have that ring knowledge, so they're going to keep going on their merry way. Unlike MDY White, and they're actually pinging out survey beacons. They're pinging out ring consoles over at Epicenter. Because they want that information. They think about going over there and getting a bit more.
Yeah, and they ran into Moist Esports, so that's why they backed on the way, especially. Didn't know where to really go, didn't have the intel that you mentioned. A good time right now to reset along the way, and at the very least inside the ring, also trying to fly back now into Skyhook. The teams with that inside knowledge, they're gonna try to call dibs for these buildings first and foremost, and we've seen it so many times here in APAC South. Once there's a building, once there's a condo that has been taken, it's occupied for the rest of the game, and if you realize that someone is already taking this vacancy, you just close that door and leave as well. Inside the ring doing just that. Eternal Photon, we're watching them right now, just still in position. Moist Esports also taking the most southern building you have here in Skyhook. So things are looking pretty crowded in Skyhook City.
Yes, they tend to get when we get one of those circles, right? But that doesn't mean we won't get action early on. APAC South, you can always count on someone to run at someone else, Dax. If there's one thing I've learned in a couple of years casting this region, and at the moment it looks like it could be MDY White and Popcorn who can give us, give us that chance to sit back with the popcorn, frankly.
Yeah, the wise old hermit Gino himself calling at the action and saying exactly what's gonna go on. It just feels like most of these, even these, I'd say, ring rotations we get here from the edge players, from the zone players, that they just have the same kind of ideal. And Popcorn right now just running all around trying to survive against the firing squads that are both MDI White as well as SWQ, who's moving into Epicenter. Fragment still finding the volley and the action. The ring, though, just firmly planting itself even more so into Skyhook. So as it stands, the three teams on the outskirts, they're gonna have a bit of a problem actually moving on inside, because we see it yet again. Once you're caught mid-transit moving into Skyhook with the rest of the buildings taken, everyone's gonna look at you saying, why the hell are you out there?
Definitely questions to be asked of some teams in APAC South in that manner, I'd say, Dax. I hear it in their comms all the time. What are you doing there? Why are you doing that? It's honestly pretty common. But for the moment, teams do seem to be just poking at each other a little bit. Popcorn perhaps taking a little bit too much damage from MDY White at the start of that game, and so they move further away, they go back, and just having a look at the Skyhook circle, and as you said, it's very much centering over Skyhook now. It's moved away. The way we've sort of played and read these games and these zones in Split 2 here has been quite different, right? The pools in Skyhook used to be very predictable. Only a couple of spots they'd go to. At the moment, they can kind of shift to any quadrant of Skyhook, and therefore, you don't necessarily, you can't just pick out one build and be like, all right, sick train station, we're in Godspot, we're good. It can kind of go either way, so you really do need to be brushing up on your zone knowledge and just trusting those calls, because if you're on the wrong side of Skyhook and you get caught out, you can't stick in a building, it can be very hard to find a new one, because as we know, so many teams take up those positions so early.
Yeah, and it's just like downtown rush hour. Suddenly from 19 squads, we can get like 9 immediately as the streets are littered with death boxes. But we're watching MDY White, who's having their own kind of expedition here in Epicenter. And we talk about them a little bit over the past few weeks. We've seen them really grow in terms of the standings. And one of the best things that they can do once they have that intel is call for the right position and stay away from that initial action. What Moist did in that last game, that's pretty much the standard for MDY White. Find those pot shots, go for those third parties, and that's why they want to go for this ring console as soon as possible, just to stay away from the chaos that will be Skyhook later.
Definitely some chaos coming up. A healthy dose of it, I would imagine. As you can see, lots and lots of teams crowded in there. So many, the game can barely all draw them on the on draw distance at the same time. Of course, DNZ, they've only just made it into Circle, by the way, and it looks like they're potentially at risk of taking some Zone 2, Zone 3 damage if they keep this up. But, that's nothing different for them. SWQ, for a lot of these other edge teams, though, Skyhook zones are a little different, Dax. The restraint they have to show before pulling in and taking fights with these other teams can be a little different from their usual game plan.
And you can see the train station transit also always a delicate spot from anyone coming in from those northern tunnels. As soon as SWQ shows a bit of presence, both Devil United as well as AGL are keeping tabs on them right now. And that will be the best chance to find them in mid-transit. SWQ, though, looking for cover right now. They'll take the train station anyway, even though it's outside of the next ring. And MDY White now moving on forward. So eventually, everyone will make it. Late to the party, late to the, I'd say, conference call. Popcorn, X and Y, and Wonton Dumpling all the way by landslide. But eventually, you see SWQ trying to put pressure on Devil United, implying that presence and allowing players like Donut to maybe get this building nearby them too.
Onic found themselves in some good spots thus far, and as you can see, that's helped them towards a third place with 23 points on the board already. We're only into game 3. That's a solid average that they've been seeing per game so far. DY White just Falcolting in now. Taking fire from everywhere. Mingyue gets put down. Res gets cancelled. That's actually I think that's the building that Onic are looking at right now. We should also note, Onic are playing Caustic Fuse Horizon.
It's perfect. It's perfect for this kind of scenario, especially Urban Warfare, Caustic, why don't you? MDY White, though, now eliminated here by Moist Esports. Speaking of them, you mentioned this in that last game, moving into World's Edge, they have decided to adopt the raid, which was a lot more prevalent last week compared to all the other weeks this split. So they realize, especially with some of the buffs, the extended range of the portal, you're going to be able to play safely in these kind of buildings. So rings like this that pull towards Skyhook and, well, the villages outside, it's perfect for the raid. Golden Sage, though, having their own contact, shooting diamonds through the wall, but this is now Phoenix down for the count. Golden Sage trying to keep that cover going, and Popcorn, their survival absolutely necessary if they want to continue on. Jesco using his own teammates for cover. The knockdown shields are there. Well, this happens, so the Dark Bay allows Golden Stage to go for the res. Can they get out, though? The Phoenix actually not going to get res on up. Mobius is instead victimized, and Teddy, all he can do is watch his Wonton Dumpling take pot shots at them.
Coming through the tunnel. It's a team you don't want to see. Wonton Dumpling. A scary crew of players are going to push onto both Golden Sage and Popcorn, who have just been macerated by the teams on either side of them. Tom Young Kung is in a building right next door. They're certainly ranging out, looking for some of those kills. Oh man, the Sears just blocking the reses. I feel like that has happened a lot this season, where we see someone try and res, it gets cancelled, they immediately try and res again, but the players just pushed out a little bit further, and then they're in range, and they take too much damage like that. And that was the Arc Star that time, right? But there you go. Popcorn, who were just... It was a tough run for them. We saw, getting stuck in Fragment for way too long at the start of this game meant that, the rotation just couldn't come in quickly enough. They find themselves in a bad spot and get caught between a couple of teams. Now, Wonton Dumpling, though, they're still pushing up. Let's hope Tom Young Kung have got through this quickly enough and looted quickly enough that they can get away without taking any unnecessary casualties.
Yep, Tom Young Kung looking very safe, and this is the thing we see always in Skyhook. It's always just that standoff until we have teams like Golden Stage willing to actually go outside just that way, and then they're punished. They're immediately found out by that slower rotation. Wonton Dumpling, though, now zipping on in towards Golden Stage. A single member left. What can Teddy even do here? He has to give it up, run on the way. Wonton Dumpling, though, still with the chase. Eternal Photon also nearby, scouting out the competition, trying to see if they can go for the third party as well. EP taking the fight to Wonton Dumpling. Wonton Dumpling, though, with the portal themselves for the disengage if ever, but they're pretty safe and sound so far on the inside. They'll take the spot away from GS.
To be very happy with that. Now, this is a look at that ring, at that 6th ring, and it's a doozy, isn't it? Dreamfire, who currently control the top of the Skyhook, getting knocked right now. Speak of the devil, they're certainly firing bullets like they are. And SWQ underneath them of not looking in a good spot after that volley coming out from Chinese and Taiwanese players. So they're going to be in a fantastic spot. It's definitely pulling over towards the Skyhook. Other teams, AGL might be able to move in from the north ground, play in the market for a little bit longer. Blackhand are okay inside the ring, but damn, there's so many of the buildings that we usually see in, maybe even Zone 5 that are actually getting removed from this, especially in Zone 6. So once again, Skyhook, as we said, this split has really mixed things up.
Skyhook has been the biggest wild card, and now we can see here for Dreamfire, they're so safe all throughout this ring. They're going to be so safe for most of this game until they need to drop down later when it's forced. And just because of this, everyone else will need to take cover. That's exactly what Buram United is doing right now. The lone member of IBG doing the same right under them. And it's really a transit that looks dangerous yet again. We're watching Moist Esports. That's why they have that right to allow them to safer portal. Dev United, though, in the meantime, Lahim desperate to get there on the opposite end. But, well, IBG, they still have one. And I do believe that is Pana trying to fight on back as much as possible. Bass is trying to fly, but Dreamfire will just go for the deny too. Devil United gone early on this time.
Yeah, struggling to reach the high highs that we saw in that first game. Dewa United go down with 0 kills and 0 placement points here in game 3. The market, we said, potentially going to be hot property here. And AGL, who I thought was going to be the one playing from there, unfortunately been shoved out by Black and 2 heavyweights going at it. Remember, AGL need a big performance here today to try and sneak into that 4th, 5th spot.
And this is the map that they usually do it on World's Edge itself, but with the teams already nearby, the usual tactics of AGL to play from a higher ground not going to work out in their favor. Wonton Dumpling, though, taking a lot of damage here, trying to at the very least survive the riot drill, putting the pressure on them as well. And it's Buram just keeping tabs on them as much as possible while this happens. Canada from IPG trying to get into the contact. Seems like for Onyx, they also want a bit of those pieces with the bow check courtesy of Raki, but XTC, he's caught in the crossbar, caught in the corner, and Wonton Dumpling is done.
Okay, well, we've got 1 minute left until a lot of these teams are going to swing in the middle here. And Moist are currently playing in the same building as Tom Young Kung. Why don't we have a listen into Moist? Because this is going to be an interesting minute for them.
Yeah, they're on the ground, they're on the ground.
Are Onyx still here?
Are they still? Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are. Should we... Oh, fuck. If we can just get here, we can play on the outside and just cat through the door.
These guys walled, these guys walled!
Let him go, let him go, let him go.
I'm letting.
Do I jump out and wall Onyx and then we mirror?
Yeah, I think we have to run into here.
Balls. They're all here, 3 kills empty!
I'm coming in.
They jumped over the wall!
Hey, we do that, go bottom. Nice, perfect.
Good wall.
Batting.
Can we maybe peek this and get killed?
Wait. Can we jump over? Can we get over here?
Is mid free? Bang on me! Bang one! Oh, in the spot somewhere! We got bang ulted, care! Save for Save me!
I don't know if there's anybody. Okay, hit me anyway. I don't know if there's anybody up here. I'm not saying anything.
No, neither do I. Can we look for it?
We might swing left.
We gotta get Onyx left. I think we got the ramp. I'm going ramp. I'm going ramp.
There's somebody up there.
Oh, I died. Play life empty. I'm knocked downing. I'm dead. Fuck, there is a team up here. We're just fucked. There's like nothing we can do.
Tough there from Moist Esports. I mean, as we said, it's going to be an extremely hard rotation for most of these teams coming in. You know, the wall helped them the first part of the way, but the rest of it couldn't quite make it there. The teams who moved first actually doing a lot better. Onyx sitting there with one of the best fighting compositions you're ever going to see, and I hope we get to see some vision of them at some point, duking it out at the end, because my lord, coming into Shady on the core stick, who's currently popping ult excels to make sure he's got that gas grenade up ready for this last fight, as well as the motherload, as well as a black hole coming at you. That is not a combination I would ever want to be on the receiving end of.
Absolutely, especially when it gets this small, right? This ring. Onyx Esports in prime position to keep themselves safe towards the corner, but Dreamfire still keeping an overlook on everyone else. Onyx gonna be nearby with DNZ here, and with this caustic pickup out of nowhere, they've realized that in these kind of ring rotations, they're just so safe in this kind of location. They're so safe in staying on alive. Blackhand, though, playing yet again from the outskirts. You have X and Y nearby as well. And as soon as that ring pulled towards that center, these squads just fell apart one by one. 5 are only remaining here, Genome, as soon as we went back from that Moist Listen in.
I just saw some Rampart walls down the bottom as well. I'm trying to work out who was playing Rampart early. I can't quite see it on the map. Anyway. Okay, yep, 5 teams. Of course, we've got a couple down the bottom. Oh, man. And this is why you pick Fuse, actually, in certain situations. Because it is the counter to Rampart. It destroys those walls, makes it really hard to play from behind them, denies so much space. And there we go. Ults are plenty coming out from Onyx. Try and cause havoc with these other teams. As soon they will be forced off the top. Dreamfire have been up the top for so long, and they've managed to get plenty of kills from it. Can they convert?
Yeah, Onyx just call for the elements, basically, with the gas, with the gravity, and with the fires as well. But Dreamfire in and out yet again, tight. Just keeping an eye out. It's like, okay, sure, I couldn't go for the third party. Might as well stay back to where Saint Exhibit is also online. Dreamfire still keeping tabs of everyone as much as possible. Eventually, though, the first one out and the Dark Veil is there. They catch out the lone member of DNC. 3 squads now remaining. Blackhand, though, in the meantime, trying to cross through the spikes as well. But since the Veil is there, Dreamfire is relatively safe and sound. Roydog flying on high because of the gravity that's coming in from the horizon. Onyx now trying to manipulate the battlefield yet again. They're struggling here, though. Raki trying to go for more of the knocks. He's down, though. Fussy the only one left, and Onyx is gone. But while Blackhand was able to watch this all, they will also take the win, too. It's Blackhand, your champions this time.
Incredibly smart play there by Blackhand. They sit on the other side of that fence you see there. Obviously, the bottom of Skyhook is sort of ringed off by quite a hefty wall. And in that situation, you had all the other teams just focusing on each other. Dreamfire had to worry about dropping onto Onyx and, you know, trying to dodge knuckle clusters, gas canisters, you know, black holes, every single piece of offensive utility you can dream of down there at their feet. And by the time they did all that, it was so easy for Blackhand there to just pop over the fence or even, you know, shoot a couple of bullets through it and finish them off. So Blackhands, who were lagging behind a little bit, you know, thinking about those top teams, we were expecting to do well. Moist were up there, Onyx were up there, Blackhand weren't yet, but after that victory with 6 kills, they will be.
And Blackhand, just the fact that they're able to keep the tabs on the market also gave them such a safer rotation moving forward. It was the least occupied spot there on Skyhook. We saw more of these teams concentrated towards the south side, towards the southwest, where we saw Moist fall, and from that point on, them just being able to watch both Dreamfire and Onyx duke it out, it was their perfect opportunity to win. But really for Onyx, look how exciting it gets with this kind of composition. They throw a lot of utility early on for that first fight, and this gravity lift actually affected Dreamfire there in the second, lifting it up a little bit higher from the Dark Veil than expected. And as soon as it happens, Blackhand's just like, easy pot shots, easy sight lines, and an easy way to win. They will take it, but the fact that Onyx makes it to that third place, and Moist is all the way in 11th, Dewa United all the way in 17th, this actually normalizes the standings, I'd say, a bit more in favor for Dreamfire, for Onyx, as well as Blackhand getting back on the board here.
Well, Onyx actually managed to grab 10 kills with a crazy composition that they just pulled out. So, I'm going to actually bet that Onyx probably on top after this, because they had the first 2 games. They were pretty solid. DNZ with 8 kills. Oh, there's the Rampart. It was 505. They didn't pick up any kills themselves, but you can see there they finished up in 7th place. So, that's where the amped cover was coming from. I was like, is it just spawning out of the ground naturally in Skyhook? Or they changed something here? Either way.
21st squad. Just
we've seen a lot more Rampart in the other regions. Not quite as much in APAC South so far. Oh, really? Dreamfire. Okay. I mean, yeah, to be fair, they came second with 7 kills, so that also does make sense. But as you can see, we've definitely got some leaders here. There's definitely a pack forming where Dreamfire, Onyx, and Moist with very well. Blackhand with 1 big game now have managed to put themselves certainly up there in contention. You got other teams like Dewa who are kind of on the bubble. I'm not sure if they were too far behind coming into this. No, they were on 79 points, so they were only 6 points behind Dreamfire coming into this. But that said, of course, you know, Dreamfire's above them right now, so
it's back-to-back runner-up spots here for Dreamfire. They got 9 kills a while ago, I believe, on Storm Point. Now they take this here on World's Edge. Maybe this time it's their chance to honestly recompense for the mistakes that they made last split. They were almost there for a match point. They were the only ones eligible at the end of the day alongside Moist, who took it by that point. And speaking of Moist, since they couldn't perform this time around, we're not breaking records, Gino. We're not going quicker than 5 maps. And, well, we're gonna have to go for a break because of that. Tune on in. We still got some more voices and some more words to listen to. We'll see you guys on the other side yet again.
Shout out to Longshot, bro. That was the best listen-in we have ever seen in Apex Legends. That was so goddamn good. Holy shit. I need to watch that back.
Team has to go out the other door. You guys need to put pressure on the south team and just keep using my knock. 450. You can keep using my knock. Wall's about to go down. Hannah. Fighting. It's out. I'm on right. Give me knocks. Yeah. 1v1. 1v1. What, baby? Let's go!
Oh my god!
On the esports, the same case. They still have the better ground here inside the ring. Akuma now moving forward. M8 is out to close quarters. Savior desperate to get the armor up. Gets it this time. And can he do it here against the Seer?
Over here, Pricey. And you gotta just cut everything off here, okay? I'm about to zero.
They're inside. Walled.
They're doing my door. I can kill the solo, I think.
Okay, Walty, on you.
Almost cracked the cat underneath. It's a full team and then the solo. Did you goo the door?
I have gooed it.
Oh, you Pricey. Nice. Get goo down.
We're in the zero. Get ready for them to set. Sending!
Dead! Almost cracked! Let's fucking go, boys! Let's keep it up!
Go.
Get you down.
Blackhand may have had a grasp on that victory, but it's Dreamfire keeping the dream alive. We continue on here with the regional finals. Dax and Genome still keeping up with the action. And we'll go back to World's Edge, but before all of that here, Genome, I gotta say, Dreamfire, is this, I'd say, the redemption arc, this ALGS split? Is this their time to make it through the points themselves? We know that they made it to land, but it was, because, of course, because of circumstance, and it wasn't the full squad. Can we get Dreamfire now at their peak condition into the international stage?
Especially if they're performing on World's Edge, Dax. That was, when I was looking through the stats for this weekend, that was probably one of the things that stood out the most to me, was that out of the top teams, Moist, Onyx, Blackhand, they were all relatively consistent. They've got good POIs and performing across both maps. Dreamfire, who landed Countdown, not necessarily as good as the Mill, where they land on Storm Point, were actually lagging behind a bit. They had 8.2 points per game on average over on Storm Point, but only 5.9 on World's Edge. So the fact that they're pulling out some big point games here on World's Edge actually bodes really well for them doing well in today, holding on to that 4th spot, and actually making it overseas.
Yeah, there is big chance for Dreamfire as they are at the top of the standings. But at the same time, we are back to our regularly scheduled fight at the first. DNZ versus ADL Wolves yet again here at Lava City, and ADL trying to go for the picks early on. DNZ already 2 knocked on down. Kentung, he needs to find these frags just to keep this team alive. Yet again, the 50-50 now swinging in favor of the Wolves. One more time, they're just so willing to keep fighting DNZ no matter the map.
Look, you gotta give it to these guys. They don't back down, huh?
Yep.
Is that a good thing? Well, depends who you ask, but they've certainly got some kahunas on them to just run it back time and time again. I guess it's kind of funny when you think about it, because like we were talking about them contesting Eternal Photon over at Overlook, right? And they're like, no, you have annoyed us for the entire season and not left Lightning Rod, so screw you, we're going to go annoy you on your drop spot over on World's Edge as well. And it's just an all-out brawl fest at the early game every single time between ADL and DNZ.
It never ends. The fight will go forever. Split 2 will be done, and these guys are still fighting, even in scrims, even in normal lobbies. And I always remember what they do to each other in the gravity cannons towards Storm's Point. But we look to other squads. No one really contesting Eternal Photon nor Golden Stage that we thought would happen back in the Beacon. This time around, though, it's more to the southeast side. So Popcorn, who did adjust to play the Dome, should be a little bit happier about this upcoming ring. And also, Moist Esports, Onyx Esports, teams that always have that early intel, they're moving in as well.
They are starting to make their way over. And with the shifts further south, it'll be interesting to see whether this one does go that sort of vault tunnel pocket. The parts of the north west, I should say, above the vault tunnel, where Onyx are actually moving in through right now. You can see 505 looking over it. Moisture down there too, and then you've also got the spot down towards Dome, where of course we mentioned Popcorn have decided to play for today.
Yeah, Popcorn, of course, gotta be careful as Moist Esports coming their way. Onyx in the meantime already by the vault tunnel, and they actually have a key, so they have a bit more of loot to work with. But I do want to talk about Onyx, and what do you think about this composition right now? We saw how effective it was in those closer quarters between the Fuse, the Caustic, and the Horizon. It seems like Onyx really wants to take the fight against many teams this time around.
Yeah, Onyx, obviously, they're a team that wants to take fights on these compositions. Moist, however, very much happy to save those for the later game when you're fighting for position rather than KP necessarily. But yeah, it looks like they get access to the vault there, I think, with the gold armor on Fussy. And yeah, that's a nice little boost to a team who wants to take fights. Not only guaranteeing that, 200 health overall, I suppose, but also, it can give you that advantage in fights sometimes, where you need to just pop a cell quickly, and you can take that advantage, in terms of, you know, getting your HP up a little bit quicker than other people. Is the Vault a great place to play from? Oh, don't know if I'd say that necessarily, but with how that ring is pulling, it certainly gives them, you know, options, right? It's if it's another one of those wild pulls, and, you know, let's say it pulls towards Lava City, you know, Onyx, they have the way to get out there. They have the way to rotate because there are the 3 exits from that Vault tunnel.
Exactly, they have avenues to move to Lava City, Lava Siphon, and the Dome of Edinburgh. Either way, it's gonna be hot, and it got pretty testy early. They spotted out Moist Esports. Moist Esports fights on back. Onyx deciding to disengage. And now, since Moist has transited all the way to the eastern side, outside of the Dome, a spot that they do love to play early on. I believe there's a caravan that they can use for cover there as well. Onyx will take their time and move into the Dome as well. X and Y, though, and Popcorn already in that POI. The rest of these teams also following suit. It will be a longer rotate, though, from Black Hand. You watch them always in maps like Stormpoint. They take their time in Fish Farms. Same case here. If they realize the ring is towards the south side, and since they start in the north, Climatizer into open areas like Epicenter and Overlook are their ways to get more loot. IBG, though, struggling all throughout the game, all throughout this day. They're in trouble now.
Throughout the game, throughout the day, frankly, throughout the split, Dax, it's been a tough one for Iron Blood Gaming. They put themselves in a position where they have to win today to be able to make it to LAN. Like, you know, frankly, a lot of people thought they had a good chance to do coming into Split 2 here in APAC South. But it's been a struggle, and honestly, at this point, I think with what we've seen from them throughout the split, it would be a surprise if they came back now and won. Wonton Dumpling closer to that dream of hitting the golden ticket, getting 50 points, and then grabbing the win first. And they're only going to put that equation more in their favor if they continue on here. IBG, they've retreated to a good position here to take a 3v3 at least on the Mirage Voyage. But, you know, how long can they sit out here? How many meds do they have to be able to sort of play this game out?
Wonton Dumpling are. They're just keeping them at bay. We watch, though, Eternal Photon instead having a bit more of their contact here. DNZ nearby. They spot out Kensung, the last remaining member. What the Wolves started, Eternal Photon will finish, as now we get the ring pulling on in yet again. Onyx actually going back to the tunnel for good reason. You can see, because of the pull, the Dome isn't completely on the inside. Popcorn, X and Y happy about that, sure, but the rest of the teams will have to follow Onyx lead. It's just such a difficult spot to play in, as IBG and Wonton Dumpling still having to stand up here, Dino.
Oh man, the gravity lift actually goes the way of IBG this time, popping a great track as they go across, but you can see it's extremely hard to make this work. Guilt tripping here with the gold armor. Now, this is really useful in these zone fights because you can just pop a syringe. Both players constantly having to manage their health in these points. And of course, the syringe is doing double as much for the player with gold armor. Going up against Jarrow on the other side. Here's the res. Wonders if they're sticking it. I can tell you, Jarrow, they are. If you need to go, you need to go now. They actually get XCZ back up and running. The Seer is there. Jarrow doesn't really have much time to do with this because he's got to keep popping syringes. They don't manage to cancel him, but they do have him on the Seer scan. Now, can they take advantage of this? They're both just healing up for the moment. You can see even popping the med kit here to try and make sure this is a certain fight win, and it will be for Wonton Dumpling.
Yeah, certain victory to Wonton Dumpling. That fight was just won because of that golden armor. Both hill tripping as well as Jaro just popping medkits one after the other, popping the syringes to stay on alive, but that extra bit of time, he was able to get that resurrection. And Wonton Dumpling, they will be rewarded for the squad wipe and even the resurrection and Mirage Trois. So IBG struggles continue. We move towards Black Hand, who is mobilizing and will meet Devil United here by the center of the map, just outside Lava Siphon. MDY White inside the ring, also nearby. And these longer rotates we've seen from Black Hand, they're very effective if they don't get caught out first.
Yeah, put them in a good position, and they'll capitalize on it. That's something Blackhand have been good at throughout this split. Often if they got caught off, you know, in an early rotation, sometimes they take a bad 3v3 early on, maybe a bit too close to the zone. I think that's where they kind of catch some struggles, but yeah, exactly. If if they get the sort of position they want to be in, they can be a force to be reckoned with. That said, there's a couple of teams to fight through. Looking around, going over to Lava Siphon, they, I think AGL have actually got a bead on them, and they're heading into Command Center to potentially take on Black Hand. Daewar are nearby. They're looking at MDY White, who are currently in that northern Lava Siphon main building. Yeah, look, been a tough time for some of these teams so far today.
Though they want to continue with what they started. Blackhand now have to disengage, can't cut through the Lava Siphon area there, and they're back into the tunnels yet again, but AGL giving very aggressive when they can be one of the progenitors to start off with a Mad Maggie. That repeat that we saw all the way back in week 2, always still the golden standard for them. But Blackhand, a wise disengage, will be backing on away. MDY White hearing all the chaos, they actually now are in position to try and catch out AGL here.
Yeah, they switched from the north building to the middle building, and as you say, AGL were mirroring Blackhand coming down south of them, and as a result now it could be a different fight than the one we thought we had on our hands. AGL, full purples versus full whites for MDY White. Sorry, full blues for MDY White is going to be a little bit different here and might give them a bit of an advantage.
Nah, dude, I'm sorry, but the MDY White name doesn't evolve when they get better shields, okay? It doesn't go from white to blue to purple to maybe yellow to red. But anyway, AGL still here. They have to now pick a different target. And MDY White taking a bit of damage from the drill yet again. Still, AGL getting back in position, looking to engage here. The doorway providing cover. Bolin now decided to go for the retreat. And AGL trying to just pick a better fight here. MDY White staving them off so far. The ring's still so far away, and just because of all the chaos being heard, teams like Blackhand and Dewa United, they're just waiting for opportunity. 505 also converging now to this position.
Still plenty of teams left over in Lava City. I can tell you they'll be a little bit disappointed with where the ring is pulling. It is an interesting one, actually. It's going to be like north of Dome, and that vault tunnel that Onyx are holding is going to be hallowed ground. They're going to be very, very happy where they've ended up and the spot they've chosen to hold from. Dreamfire, they don't have the information, but they've actually picked it out very well. It's a very central ring, I suppose. It looks exactly like a donut, right?
It is.
If I'm looking at with the dotted circle that's showing both.
Yeah, it's right there in the middle, and now in the middle of all this action, Dreamfire and Onyx will see each other. The thing is, Onyx, they're relatively safe to this tunnel right now if they're not forced out by the ring itself. They're very happy here to just keep tabs on everyone transiting. We've seen this often from Fuzzy. He's the one who gets that first contact. Notices that if there's a team rotating away from the openings themselves, and on the other side, Tom Yun Kung getting effectively gate-kept there by the likes of Popcorn. Tom Yun Kung struggling today of all days. I honestly saw their progress recently. They had that awful first day, but after their next few group stages, right? It was 4th places, 5th places. TYK, those struggling today. We watch Wonton Dumpling eventually finding yet again a bit of action. MDY White, their opponent on this instance. And Wonton Dumpling just looking again and again for some of these kills here.
Yeah, a couple of these teams just not giving them anything to work with, though. MDY Whites are going to ult out above them, but there's a different fight to be taken. It's 505 here as Daewar go above them in the sky, and 505 make their move into death boxes, unfortunately. A couple of these teams who picked out Lava Siphon about to start getting into it. Golden Sage on one side, inside the ring on the north. This is going to be a tough one. Wonton Dumpling to get out to Strafing Flame and co here on Blackhand. May have some free kills coming their way.
Yeah, Wonton Dumpling, though, still on the hunt, pestering MDY White right now, playing with portals too. As we see Dewa United, Blackhand sweep spotting out each other soon. Wonton Dumpling, though, taking too much damage. Their aggression now getting punished one by one. They fall on apart. Too many squads looking at them. Inside the ring, though, notices the opportunity versus MDY White as Wonton Dumpling falls bit by bit. XCC has to stay on the outskirts. Instead, here by the edge of the ring, it's Golden Sage trying to stay online as MDY White has been eliminated. Sip is out. Onyx Esports though taking the opportunity. It's the peak here from Fussy yet again. They hear the noise. It's their opportunity to find some KP. Golden Stage though slowly but surely winning the fight against inside the ring. Who's trying to get the hell out? Nuku though found out. Ziki the only one left standing. A sliver of HP to survive. Can't even go for broke. Go for more. The frag they thrown at him. And inside the ring. Caught on the outside. Will get taken on down by the knuckle cluster of Onyx.
Damn, chipping in with the ability kills. I think we're going to see a couple of those from Onyx today, considering the 3 legends that they have picked to be by their side. Shady's just holding down the back with his gas barrels, while the other 2 are looking for kills down the bottom there. And I've got to tell you, the ring pull for them is just ridiculous. Like, we're getting a super late ring that they're actually going to be able to stay in that tunnel for. It's honestly just a nut sort of situation. They're going to have to worry about some other teams coming in towards them now. Hopefully Fussy doesn't get caught off guard. Why don't we have a listen in with Onyx and see how they deal with teams trying to get into the tunnels with them?
Rock spot up here?
Yes, I think so.
Are they inside?
I don't know if they're still in here or not. Just get a trap there. We just have to hold this zone and we're good.
We're gonna have to run up this fucking hill here and queue up and kill the team on the right, next zone.
We just ult spam them up there. They just get fucked.
I don't...
Come in!
I'm bridging Raki side. I'm Raki side.
They inting this?
I don't know.
Well, okay, I'm going back.
They went back out the other side.
Yeah, they went on the side.
They're gonna fucking... There's gonna be a monk fest there. They're trying to still come in here.
Yeah,
cracked.
Alright, you know what? City side then. I'm blocking this side for a second.
I can horizon ult this.
Yeah, we have optics, so you can.
Breaking us. Nading them.
Where my horizon ult?
I'm fuse ulting them.
Backing up.
I got force gold on them.
Yeah, okay.
Bad fuse ult.
Bad zero,
burning.
Yeah, crack! See one! Burning!
Kill one.
Crack, dead, one more.
On the right.
Swing him. Nice.
Right, nice.
Look, side to side.
I need loot real quick. I need loot.
Yeah.
We need... Shady, we're looting.
Okay, no one's side. We need ultic cell back. Zero pushing! Zero,
On me! Here!
Last one on me!
Last one!
Cracked.
20
Dead!
Let's fucking go!
Reset!
You have gold knock, I'm dropping armor.
Dog shit fucking players, get the fuck out of my game.
Shit, boys.
Good shit.
I'm holding. Good fucking shit, Cameron!
Wait, sorry.
Whoa.
Ari, and did you?
Give me. Alright, we gotta get forward. Wait, it's still in a bit.
They were playing the spot. They were playing the rock spot. We have all this space on our side. All we have to do is clear our fucking left and we win the game.
The fucking ulti cell.
I'm popping it. We need to clear the fucking... Okay, you pop it then. We need to clear the fucking left side. That's all we need to do.
No, you take my shady.
Is there energy?
I don't know. I'm flatline fucking... Oh no, still. We need to clear this left side.
Look at them.
I got one nade.
There's 5 teams.
I don't even know if there is anyone on the left.
That we just need to make sure because we haven't
I don't think anyone's
here.
Yeah.
They're in a bad spot.
They're fighting to the right.
We need to take control of this, Fussy.
I can. I'll just queue into it. I've got like no ammo to really fuck on.
I'm playing here with Fussy. Racky, you need to watch the left.
Yeah.
They're getting fucked. Chill.
Okay, I'm dropping.
Just safe on me. Really safe on me. We can stay left as well. Flash.
Yeah.
Killed one.
Nice. We need to kill the guys right there in a really shit spot. We might be able to just kill them.
It's Moist on the left. Shoot Moist. I got no fucking ammo.
Right. They're right here.
Where?
20.
I'm getting on there.
They're right
spotting them.
Nade.
And then.
In a really bad spot. They're getting fucked from height. Zero holding.
Zero. You can
Under
destroy
me.
I'm not up.
20.
I'm out.
I got one gun.
What do you need? Queuing.
Getting fucked.
Doing.
My Q. I want to try and do something. Batting.
What do you need, Fussy? Queuing. Up in the air.
Doing.
Dead. One more. Chop.
I don't have Q. That's my Q.
Waiting on Sia. I need to slow down. I need a bat.
Chill.
They're still cooking in gas.
There's 2
You have Horizontal? How long to Horizontal?
No. I got Q at 10 though. They're getting fucked.
They're getting fucked.
Come out here. I got no energy, bro. Not a single bullet.
They're dead.
I dumped energy. I'm dumping energy here. 2 sacks. Top 3.
Fighting.
On me.
Grief the right team.
Can't. Go left. We need to kill this fucking raid.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's go.
I'm ulting the guy.
Tagged him. Like 50.
Holding at me. One HP right. Like, go and take control of this rock.
Seal weak.
I can control the rock.
Is he my
Dropping
fucking
behind me. Keep going left.
Yeah, I'm here. Cracked on this.
I'm on.
Still behind me. We're fine here.
Batting. They're wrapping out right. I think we just have to kill them.
I'm
dead.
We just have to kill these guys.
Just kill them. It's one guy.
He's dead.
How is he alive?
Fuck.
How the fuck is he alive though? He's just sitting there. They're just attending.
Holy.
Wow, Tom Young Kung actually coming out with the win there. I mean, look, I love it when the players do our job for us, Dax.
Yep.
It's great. Probably used a few more Australian words than I would in that space of time, but it was cool to hear from them. I mean, that fight they repelled against Dreamfire was nuts. I mean, they were sitting there in the vault tunnel. I was like, oh no, they're being caught off guard. They're gonna have their backs to them. They're looting. They're just gonna get. Those ARC Stars are just going to lock them down. It's going to be done. But oh my god, they turn around, just beam Dreamfire. It was a very, very impressive game from Onyx. I mean, to be fair, a wild ring pool, below the tunnel there, a little bit interesting. But they had, really good priority into all of those zones because of their choice to take that space, lock it down with the core stick, and then keep going. So really cool to hear from Onyx, and it was a great game from them.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun just watching all the action. We even had a small debate here. Like, does Dreamfire have this? No, yes. Onyx just had so much tools and so much loot at their disposal. In the end, though, we both noticed it. Tom and Kung taking their sweet time and just went back some of their comms. As soon as Onyx realized that was Moist Esports on the other side, they were effectively, in more Australian words of affirmation terms, said, screw it, let's go for them, let's kill them first and foremost, knowing that they're this biggest rival. Tom and Kung, though, big victory, putting them back into tension. That's 9 takedowns for them. Moist Esports will take second with 5 kills of their own, but Onyx with third with 10 points. Maybe this puts them already in match point status by this point, but really the tunnel warfare, it suits them so well. With the fuse, with the caustic, you add into the horizon for a bit more flexibility. These aggressive fights really suit Onyx Esports, and they're happy to hold things down the way they want to.
Oh man, they held it down for the longest time, right until here, where we had 3 teams left. And, it felt like they, maybe could have held it out. Tom Young, boom, they got a sneaky reset off over to the side, just in there, I believe it was. Yeah, so after they clear this 4th squad out, they've got a couple of death boxes to work with in a really enclosed space. You can see, right, the death boxes like falling down into cover was kind of key and quite nice for them. And then, I think they knew it was Moist, right? That's what we're speculating at least, and they just full sent it towards the Moist players, because that's what really matters to them right now, right? They want to get the extra points, be on top of Moist at the end of this day, and walk away as the first place winners in APAC South. So, they weren't really that worried about Tom Young Kung, and let's see if that tactic, I mean, unfortunately, they couldn't quite get on top of Moist, has put them on top of them. It sure has, and not only that, Dax. We've got a team on match point.
Yeah, I kind of felt it from the way that they performed, especially in that last map. But look at Moist Esports. A heartbreaker 49. They were so close. It looked to actually work out in their favor because Tom Young Kung went after Onyx Esports first, but just not enough kills, not enough of that KP. And they're in second place. They still need to make more plays in more maps going forward. Dreamfire, though, in third, eliminated too early on to get to match point 45 there. Black Hand at 37, but Tom Young Kung, after that performance, they do come up big on World's Edge maps, and here we go yet again. 31 to keep them alive in that top 5, putting Devil United in a spot lower than themselves.
HGL really have fallen off in this top lobby here, in this final lobby for the split. And, Tom Young Kung, Daewoo, these guys are definitely in contention, and they're looking all right at the moment. So we'll have to see, if they can maintain those top spots and just sneak in towards those final 2 slots at the end and make their way to London. See us in Split 2 playoffs, but certainly the big names showing up like we expected them to here in Week 6 of Split 2.
Yeah, but guys, it's time for us to go for a break because we will return to Store Point. We'll see you guys on the other side for more of the regional finals.
is going to be your champions of the APAC Legends Global Series.
Third parties might be the way to win maps, but it's third place at the top of the standings. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, to another map here in the regional finals, and there are some very interesting trends we've seen here, Genome. First things first, all of the maps so far, it's always that third party who takes the opportunity and just gets into the action after the dust settles to win out the map. But as mentioned, even by Prod, the Onyx Esports squad, who is on match point now, they've come in third every single time, and that consistency is rewarded with the points that they have here.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy, isn't it? 57 points, 4 maps deep. That's a really solid effort from them. Almost 15 points a map. And yeah, as you say, a lot of them coming from the 7 points a map that they're grabbing. The 7 placement points they're getting from coming third.
Yeah, I'm loving especially that they gave us so much variance there in World's Edge. Who the thunk would actually get Caustic and Fuse together in this day and age, especially here in the regional finals. But we've seen some of these shifts happen near the tail end of the split. We saw, speaking I just saw there. We saw, of course, the rates last week really being put up to good use. We've seen so that these squads able to go for that kind of adjustment, and as we're going back into Storm's Point, it might be a little bit more par for the course, but match point format, just to quickly explain what's going on. Now that we have on esports over 50 points, they can actually win it all, win out this whole regional finals, because they are match point eligible. Teams like Moist Esports, teams like Tree Fire, they're trying to play catch up. So if it's anyone else that isn't on the esports that wins this map, we go for more here.
All right, well, I think we're going to get straight into the game because we've got some early contests. What a surprise. It's DNZ versus ADL. The ever-present stoush between these two teams. And I can confirm, after seeing some lobby chat, that we were joking about it, ADL being like, oh yeah, hey, you can test us on our Stormpoint POI supposedly. So we're going to test you on World's Edge. They literally said that in lobby. It is a full-on grief war between these two teams right now. ADL want their heads for what has happened throughout the season, and so far, for the last couple of games, they're getting it.
Yeah, it's a grief parade and the sad trombone noises for our poor Fallen. AGL, though, we're watching them right now as ADL Wolves does take control of Lightning Rod. AGL still having contact here in checkpoint with inside the ring by their POI too. So as it stands, AGL, we've wanted to see the recovery. We've seen the heights from them, but it hasn't panned out as of today. Inside the ring, though, sieging the building already. You see Nuku and Ziki trying to find a better position. Goes over to the high ground, but it's Jackie with the takedown. Emilio makes a trade happen. Inside the ring, go for the 2-for-2. The Bangalore peeks out, and it's Bolin with the kill. AGL, can they finish the job off? Yes, they do, as inside the ring is booted out of the server.
And this is exactly what we wanted to see. AGL, they've changed it up. They started off at high point and also starting out with the Trident over towards Lightning Rod. They don't do so well today. We see them. They're in 11th place, only 17 points to their name so far, so they changed it up. They're going to go contest someone else. We said it could have been Shiftfall, it could have been Checkpoint, and it could have been Lightning Rod or High Point as well. So now they're going to, they come up to see inside the ring at Checkpoint, and all of a sudden, they've taken an early 3v3, and they're well on their way to having a better start to this game in Storm Point.
Yeah, building confidence, building their arsenal too, but we're watching our leaders right now in Onyx Esports driving by with the Trident, early rotation since they realize immediately the ring isn't going to pull towards South Beast. And they're completely in trouble right now as they do find Eternal Photon and MDYY trying to gatekeep them. But mentioned here, look at what Onyx running. You have Shady on the Bangalore. You also still have the Seer and the Cat together. So Onyx Esports, they want to be decisive in this map.
Yeah, obviously some differences between World's Edge and Storm Point here. Okay, looking like a Cascade kind of day. And as we take a look at the ring and where it's moving, Onyx in a decent spot. I mean, they're playing the spiders there. I feel like it's very much like an early game spot though, right? You don't tend to see as many circles end there. It's just a good sieging ground, a good staging ground, sometimes even a good gatekeeping kind of spot where you can look at other teams trying to pull up from the north side of the map. But yeah, we're obviously going to keep our eyes on Onyx throughout this game, everyone. They are the only team currently on match point, and therefore the only team that we have to worry about if we're thinking about... Oh, what? Okay, wow. Nice little peek there, sir.
Yeah, IBG taking that.
Oh my god, and the grenade.
The Thermite also getting so much value, and Moist Esports looking hotter than ever in this fight. Iron Blood Gaming eliminated so early on yet again. Moist is just on the hunt here.
Oh my god, I felt like it may as well have been a 1v3 there from Pricey. I mean, Sentinel into the Thermite did most of the damage that they needed to make that fight happen, and that's a pretty stellar way for Moist to open up the account here on Game 4.
Yeah, it's interesting rotation though. They have left behind Cascade Falls, and Wanton Dumpling, always aggressive, always ready to hunt. Eternal Photon just trying to play into the armory, but they fall into the hands of Wanton Dumpling yet again. They've been beaming players left, right, and center. They've been very aggressive and very lethal so far, hunting down squads.
They've been doing pretty well. And, you know, IMC is another place where you can start jacking up your loot before you get out there and have to deal with those team fights. You always, you know, edge teams, they're always looking for ways to maximize their armament. Because you always want to have that advantage when you're taking those fights. I mean, we hear some teams talk about it. They're like, you know, look, if you're a great team playing against another great team, oftentimes it is just a 50-50. There's not a lot in it. So if you can give yourself those in-game advantages, you know, just grabbing some extra armor, maybe extra attachments, not having to worry about, you know, how much ammo's left in the chamber and just spraying to start with, you definitely can get the upper hand and be more successful in your edge gameplay.
Yeah, it's just a byproduct of really how edge works. You look for loot, you look for takedowns, and you can just fortify yourselves because you're always looking to pick those fights. AGL, though, and Wonton Dumpling ready now to meet each other here by the exit of checkpoint. Focus of you also have the lift here as they want to get to that high ground. High, and Jackie doesn't know that it's coming from below. Suddenly, Wonton Dumpling on the high ground too, but Bolin makes the trade happen. Guilt tripping, trying to get the hell out of there, and the AGL getting burnt on down more and more. It's only Bolin left in a 1v2 slate, looking for the crack. Gets it there versus the Valk, but now he's down on the ground, and he's eliminated too. Guilt tripping, just making sure everyone falls in front of him.
Oh, just not quite enough bullets to finish that one off. The Valk looked like they were in dire trouble there until you hear that awkward clicking noise of the R99 as it stops pumping the bullets out. So, Wonton Dumpling. They pick up yet more kills. You can see kill leader at the moment. It's a solid start for them.
Kind of reminiscent of, if I remember correctly, the 2MK1 keyboard background that they had in split number 1. They just go for the hunt, and when they get really hot, right, we see some of these squads. We saw it before from Dreamfire. We see it here from Wonton Dumpling right now. I do feel like AGL is a team like that, but they got caught early on. That as soon as the first squad drops in front of them, everyone else falls like dominoes the way that they aggress from the edge.
Yeah, look, talking about falling like dominoes, as far as I can see, Black Hand down the bottom there are a duo this game, so very unfortunate for them. Coming into an important spot, an important, you know, part of this regional finals. They unfortunately don't have all three here to try and finish this one off, and by the looks of it, Golden Sage are going to get the scan on them as well. Golden Sage currently on the survey beacon. That's going to ping out that there's 2 and not 3 members alive. I think that's an easy gatekeep there for the Chinese team.
They even pinged it. They even went for the ping on to where we have Boogie now trying to stay alive, losing Easy Flash. Such a heartbreaker here for Black Hand. And we always notice that they're this kind of squad that loves to go for the long rotates. It's been very famous from Fist Farms to wherever they need to. They will take their sweet time, and that's why they take a lot of rank damage. But Golden Sage, waiting for them to cross this way. Teddy looking to at least improve his armor. Not the best arsenal for Golden Sage, but the numbers disparity can more than make up for it. We're watching Moist, though, who has gone back towards the center of the map. They're staying away from Cascade Falls. 505 actually in the tunnel underneath them, I believe. So as it stands, Moist here just keeping tabs on close competition.
Yeah, so Moist, they're playing, I don't know, what the waterfall spot, I guess. Of course, it always makes you think of that first LAN, that Reignite one over in Sweden. Probably the most famous moment we had over here. Of course, the APAC South team was down the bottom that time, not up top. Underneath them, you can see 505 hiding out in the caves. And then there's quite a few other teams taking several of the buildings above them in Cascade Falls. Quite a few spread out over the north as well. You got to remember that's Onyx still up at Spiders where they were. And these guys, all without zone information, basically. You know, they're joined by Wonton Dumpling, Buriram, and Adal Wolves.
And everyone's actually avoided him.
Sorry, I was just going to mention very quickly that you can see, you know, they were on 49, and of course, a throwback to Team Burger when they won a game on 49 and were 1 point off, you know, essentially winning that match point day. We do have Moist now making it over into match point contention, but not for this map.
Yeah, That was like a year ago, right? And the Team Burger curse was lifted by the Moist brand. Can they do so again, though, as they will be eligible, as you mentioned, for the next map? I just wanted to say, too, that everyone has actually avoided Onyx. So many teams noticed that they were transiting from down Beast to North Pad with the Trident all the way to where they're located right now. And you can see the rotations even from North Pad has avoided them. Burrams to their east, ADL Wolves looking to go nearby. Dawa United, MDY White already closer to the ring itself. And well, for Burram United, they might be the best chance to continue the game here if they notice that Onyx is still nearby. ADL Wolves, though, instead taking a few pot shots at them. And while this ring will be closing on down soon, it does feel like that eventually Onyx, they're going to have to move away from their spot.
Certainly will be at some point. Just like Buriram here. Will it be in the same direction? Hard to say just yet. Obviously, Onyx, they're not going to be able to Valcult into the next circle. Their composition a bit more standard for Storm Point, but it is with the Bangalore, not with a Valk or a Wraith. Okay, circle shifts. It's actually going to be very much over the buildings of Cascade Fall and down to the south of the Water Wheel, actually. So this will give pretty good opportunities to Moist, who are down there. They might have to watch their back with 505 coming up from underneath, but I do like the position of the teams who are a little further down south.
I like also Dreamfire and Tom Yong Kung already have the buildings that they need there on Cascade Falls. Moist Esports effectively going back to where they started. And as Onyx now trying to hug the edge of the ring as much as possible, I think the only real weakness this composition that they have right now without the Valkyrie or the Wraith is they're gonna have to rely on the Dark Veil and the smokes to allow them to transition. If they're caught on the outside, they don't really have a speedy way to get the hell out. The Gravity Cannon looking maybe even tempting, since Burram has already left this spot behind and have already flown into Cascade Falls on top of the Water Wheel building, right on top of Dreamfire 2. They're gonna set themselves up instead.
Yeah, this is a cool one. So obviously teams can start stacking in those buildings. The one next to them actually is empty right now. So who was that? I think that was, yeah, Dreamfire, 3MZ there, that is going to pop the Seer ultimate, chucks down the exhibit just to check out and maybe dissuade the team above from getting a little too frisky. But yeah, the building next to them is actually free. So if Buriram wanted to hop over to that, because you do often get a lot of teams taking angles on you up the top. There's not a lot of safe spots to play. You know, especially teams on market will often, you know, the Valk player will just pop up onto market for the top of a second, and before you know it, you're on the ground and, you know, behind a knockdown shield.
Yeah, it's very dangerous there, especially that you're caught out in the open. Well, SWQ, though, a squad trying to at least make an impact. They made it here for good reason. They clutched it out during the regular split, but they're desperate to make it onto the inside of the ring. But Dewa United and MTY White both already in position. Dewa especially outside of their own building. And SLWQ has the back on away, so they have a Valkyrie, so they can try to find an ult at least to move around with the Skyward Dive. You're gonna see that often if you're a team with Valkyrie, right? Skyward Dive, you're gonna try to land perhaps on one of the rooftops there of Cascade Falls, and maybe that's why Burram United is still sticking around there, just expecting that to happen.
Just getting a bit of an overview of the battle scene here, the battlefield, I should say. This is towards the eastern edge. All these years casting, still struggling with my compass point stacks. One day I'll get them.
Not all of them have names, okay? This is the other lift. This is the Sut of ski lift. This is always the least fun part. I don't know, because you're always trying to go up a ski lift, right? And you're supposed to technically slide on down, so
yes, sir.
It's kind of just like what you need to do. But what do I know? There is no winter here in the Philippines. I don't know anything about snow.
Or in Storm Point, for that matter.
Or on Storm Point, that's true. So
looks
why
even
even bother?
Most of the time, to be honest.
Yeah, this feels very at home, honestly. You know, there's a big tree outside my building right now. The sun is hot as per usual, and SWQ, they have to fly away to the opposite end, but they're still in trouble. Golden Stage is nearby. I'm looking instead at what On Esports is trying to figure out here, and you mentioned it. No way to really move. We have SWQ still stuck there, and Blackhand actually surviving with two still. I'm
I'm surprised that they managed to outlast Golden Sage, obviously, who were looking at that. You know, they spent lots of time doing the prowlers and everything down below, but even the 2 red armors that they've crafted and built up from all that PvE gaming they've been doing is definitely not enough to make that happen. But, of course, a team sees a fight, everyone else wants a piece of it, and all of a sudden you've got ADL, Wonton Dumpling, and Golden Sage wanting to grab some of that juicy KP.
Guild tripping though, the cover with the knockdown shield, and ADL Wolves can't handle the onslaught that is Wonton Dumpling. Can anyone else converge on them? No, this allows them to reset because SWQ instead, as well as Golden Stage, finding contact in the building. Donut though, knocking down Phoenixes through the staircase. Those small little holes providing them a vantage point. And there you have the confirmation. SWQ though versus Golden Stage now in a 2v2. High ground taken here by Golden Stage. SWQ trying desperately to get at least back onto the same angle. Cover for now. Spot out the one knockdown there. Golden Stage, only Mobius left standing. Can he survive though? So low on the HP. Found out even. And SWQ will be able to slay them. But look who's coming their way. Wonton Dumpling was given a reprieve. And now they're ready to fight for more.
Okay, do they get it this time against SWQ? It's only Donut left alive, so this should be a very easy cleanup there. Not going to take any chances. Going through the knocks first. And there you go, SWQ, who Valcolt did into it looked like an okay spot in the middle of the circle, but then, fortunately just caught the attention of too many other teams. Onic definitely got our attention right now, because they are sitting in the #1 spot. And remember, they are the only ones who can end this series here at Game 5. That, of course, would be a throwback to last split. That would equal the shortest match point series record we've seen here in APAC South.
Only an APAC South and some safe rotations there from Onic, but as it stands, Wonton Dumpling, eventually their rampage has been ended. In the battle of food, it's Popcorn who stands, but not for long. Onic popping them, getting in position, and taking immediately control of the east side of this ring. Now then, the circle looking to close on soon. Exposing Dreamfire, Baram United, and Tom Young-Kung to be the ones on the inside. Moist 505, X and Y, Onic, MDY White, and Del United. All of them need to converge sooner or later.
Yeah, Seer Ultimate's actually going down for Moist and 505. Just, you know, that's over towards the right there at the waterfall. You can see only just now Tom Young-Kung taking up the position in that right building. That building was empty for the longest time. And considering where this ring has shifted, very much over the top of those 2 buildings that we're seeing right now, it's honestly a little bit flabbergasting, but finally, the Seer Ultimates, the heartbeat sensors are allowing them to sort of, you know, work that out and find some position there. So Onic there on the southern side of this, they're going to have to just work their way up. Hopefully there's some tree roots and rocks to hide behind. Maybe they've mapped out a spot that they can play in this next circle, but Shady, he spotted out XMY that's sitting to the south of them, and that's definitely one team that Onic will be keeping their eyes on.
They're not just trying to find quadrants here, they're trying to find the perfect half to play from, and Onic Esports, they went for such a long rotate just to be in a safer location. Perfect timing also on the top front, as we mentioned, but 505 eventually, they're gonna need the pop-up from the cave, and on the outside, Moist Esports was able to just whack him down. So Moist now, oh, it's Onic in front of them. Is this it? Is this gonna be the defining battle between Moist and Onic? Shady though already cracked here, throwing out his ultimate, using that for a bit of cover for the shield bat. Seems like those small little resets. Moist Esports realizing the opportunity, they go for the Dark Veil. Wolsey setting that up. Onic though getting in the way as much as possible yet again. Well, Shady, he finds the target, beams them through, cracks the armor even despite the Veil itself. Moist tried to play safe. Wolsey's already knocked on down, and this is the perfect opportunity for Onic to get the hell in there. Through the Veil they go yet again. Shady though, grayscale, and Rocky's already on the floor. Devils United eliminated along the way. Onic also losing members here.
Oh my god.
Fussy the only one. He's trying to survive behind the shield, but Moist knows they need to extend play. It's effectively a 1v1 between Pricey as well as Fussy. but we have the armor already set for Fussy. He is able to get the confirmation onto MP. Moist though still in the corner. They know exactly where they are, and Onyx now getting third party, realizing the situation.
Oh, no.
It's Buram United who'll get involved, get in the way, and look to continue and extend play.
Oh, they try to confirm it, but he can't, so Onyx are not going to be ending it this game. Pricey, just by himself, is using death boxes as physical cover right now, trying to deal with the last one of Buram United. I don't know if he knows there's only one left, because if he did, he can honestly peek around right now. Misses the timing on that Seer Q, but he doesn't miss the shots with the vault. Pricey puts him down. Buriram are gone, and they've made the top 3.
And Pricey, can he survive longer? The death box is providing cover, but the thermite here might signal the end of Moist
Final
Esports.
3v3.
Apparently beating water there, but the 3v3, as you mentioned, Tom Young waiting for opportunity yet again, and now it's on their doorstep. They decide to go into the outside world. The Dark Veil gonna be out yet again. Dreamfire on the opposite end. They just want to fight the 3v3 here. The tree providing cover so far. At least the exhibit gonna be into play as well to give them the intel, but Tom Young not pushing the issue as of
No,
yet.
they don't want to. They're not pushing the issue, they're pushing buttons. They're trying to get the ult excels happening on Killerpos and drag this out longer so he can get his Seer ultimate up. But with the extra information the Dreamfire have from theirs, it allows them to push, wrap, and destroy Tom Young Kung for the win. Dreamfire, who were just barely below match point at the end of Game 4, have certainly moved above it here at the conclusion of Game 5.
Yeah, we now have even more contenders to the crown. Onyx still on match point, sure, but both Moist and Dreamfire doing enough to put them in that spot as well. You gotta give big props to Buram United if you were in this lobby. The fact that they went on the outside, confirmed Onyx Esports, and then died to Moist, it's honestly a sacrifice to continue on with the rest of the game. But they didn't know that until they saw, oh wait, that's actually Onyx. So many kills though for Dreamfire. 10 takedowns with that first place. What an effort yet again. We've really seen Dreamfire have a resurgence in this later part of the split.
It's been awesome to watch, hasn't it? And I feel like it's certainly been one of those situations where it does okay when there's a lot of craziness going on in the group in the earlier parts of the split, and then when things get serious, when teams start playing, you know, how they're quote-unquote supposed to, a team like Dreamfire shows up and shows their quality.
Can't believe we were almost there though. It looked to be the standoff immediately versus Onyx and Moist. I was so excited for it. But there were so many throwbacks really for some of the top 4 we've seen from many squads. We obviously noticed Dreamfire stepping it up more so. Tom Young Kung also picking, choosing, and getting the placements that's more so expected from them. We also noticed teams like Wonton Dumpling. Even though they finished in 11th place, they got 10 kills along the way. The rampage that you effectively have to avoid if you want to move on forward. Heartbreaking for Blackhand, heartbreaking for IBG, who only had 2 of those members. And it still goes to what Onyx and Moist, as well as Dreamfire, can do now into the next map. It's one more time on Stormpoint here, Genome, but as of right now, it's a lot closer than anyone really expected from contenders this early on.
Definitely. On the side of Dreamfire as well, I mean, you know, going back to those map picks, I suppose, you know, we'll get the scoreboard and have a look at that, you know, after we play these out, of course. But, you know, remember, we were thinking about which teams are good at which maps, and Dreamfire certainly were better at Stormpoint. So with another Stormpoint game coming up and Dreamfire are now on match point, is this their chance to close it out and confirm that once again, they will be an APAC South representative?
Yeah, they've had that experience all throughout the years, and you can see in our timeline, Tom Young Kung, well, it was the side of Dreamfire, actually, so this was the last map, no problem there. It really just goes to show, though, that this Dreamfire squad, they've had those identity issues at the start of this year of ALGS. It's something we talked about extensively in split number 1. They were trying to be more of that zone team when we knew of them for their aggression, their edge gameplay, and now it's a bit of that mix. They understand where to position a little bit better. They're taking the fights at the right times, and really for Dreamfire, there's always a chance for them to win out a battle, really. We saw it in the last map. They only just lost because Onyx had such a good position, a composition, and a lot of armor to swap around with. But this time, you notice that Tom Kung had that small lapse, and Dreamfire was able to take advantage.
Yeah, it was a big game to finish off there for them. I think that might have been the timeline from the previous game. Either way, I'm sure we'll get the updated scoreboard in a second. And look, going through the Stormpoint teams, just to give you an idea of sort of who's been doing well on Stormpoint so far this split DAX. Of course, it's the ones you know, right? Moist, Onyx, Blackhand, and Dreamfire have all had 3 wins each so far on Stormpoint. Moist actually typically the best with 10.4 points per game. I mean, across both maps, there's only 4 teams that have made more than 10 points per game on any map, and Moist are the only ones to do that on Stormpoint. There's the placement timeline from last game, and as you can see, Moist continuing to add to that average in total, coming in 3rd place there. But it does also mean they're in 3rd place overall. Now, we talked at the start of today about Blackhand, Onyx, and Moist being that top 3. Today, it's looked a little different. Dreamfire has been the 3rd team and in that discussion. But not only that, they are currently on top of the leaderboard at 67 points. I think the other thing to note here is that Moist were ahead in split standings coming into this DAX.
Yep.
And if Onyx finished 2nd and Moist 3rd, Moist would still be ahead at the end of this split and would be walking away with a trophy, which, if you were listening to that interview with Pricey, that's the one thing he wants, you know? Somehow, despite all of my Moist's success, he hasn't been the one hoisting the trophy in any ALGS event so far. He's, sure, they won the regional finals, but they didn't win Split 1. He's got no trophies or medals on his shelf.
Well, let's see if he can put that in that cabinet. Matt's gonna check out very soon, but we'll go for a break and we return. It's still more to come. Many on match point. We still got more here in the regional finals. We'll see you guys on the other side.
Get your blood pumping. Now we're down to 3 squads.
Right on top of a team. YC from
Well, as Moist, we want to go to the inside of the caravan.
different angles that you can play. Yes, that's coming through. The res was on. Managed to get, I believe, all timing right. Him. He's not able to get another single room in that area of the map. It was always going to be busy.
These boards there trying to make sure this happens.
Finishing off through, and that has really helped Moist out. And that's going to be the go signal for MDY White. They knew that was not enough.
Pushing in towards the Kuba.
Yeah, Crusaders on the floor, but Limo and Orchan are fighting hard, and the Eternal Photon do go down.
And what meds now? No pull up in.
Basically gets that first knock.
It will go any further than that. Kind of really. They're on to the rest overall, but it might actually be more important combo for this end. They're going to suffer.
Yeah, it's certainly looking for low as well. Double side. They're completely out of this engagement, and if Onyx wins this clean, which they do, they now have a 3-on-2 in front of them. So you'd expect them to close that out.
Hey, at least we're going longer than last split. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Game 16. We actually made it here. And we have 3 teams on match point right now. Dreamfire, Onyx Esports, as well as Moits Esports, all looking to vie for that victory here in the regional finals. And of course, still contenders coming up close as well. I'm very interested, though, with the point that you made a while ago. Because of the standings right now, even if this is where Onyx and Moist end, it will be Moist being the top of the leaderboard. And I did a bit of that math. It really has to be Onyx staying away from Moist. If it's like even first and second, Moist will still win anyway because of the math. And the lower you go in the standings, the easier it is for Moist to beat Onyx in the regional standings themselves.
Yeah, exactly. There's bigger point gaps when you're at the top of the board. And for Moist, if you're looking at it from their point of view, they can win with a top 2. They can guarantee that they stay ahead of Onyx with a top 2. And just having a look at sort of their journey throughout today, we can see Moist, you know, they're doing pretty damn well, right? Minimum of 4 kills a game. Wow, 14 placement points. Man, they must have come like 0th in that last map. But either way, yeah, look, they're doing pretty damn well so far, aren't they?
And I love what we saw there at the end. The box barricade to keep Moist alive into the corner. They're just still that resilient as a squad, and they have so many right calls, really. In the end, though, they were just cornered. There were caught-outs, and they felt pretty early on. But before, or rather after Onyx did in the first place. And you can check out their standings yet again. Dreamfire at the very top. Onyx, Moist, all there on match point. But I'm looking forward to what Tom Yun-Koo and Blackhand can do. Tom Yun-Koo has slowly but surely gotten back to the standard we've seen from them, having some good positionings. They were second place last time around when we saw it on Storm Point. Blackhand also only playing as a duo, so honestly, I feel like if there is still going to be more games to go, it will be because Blackhand will be more of a threat this time around.
Oh man, it's really hoping for some of those teams that are, you know, a little bit further down the standings that they can pick it back up and, you know, maybe get us a few more games. But woof, those top 3 teams, they keep trading between wins, between, you know, being the kill leaders, and honestly just looking like the best teams on the server right now. And yeah, look, I mean, Dreamfire with the changes they've made, you know, from earlier in their lifetime as their life cycle as a team to now is certainly starting to show some fruit now. Look, there's another team that's a little bit further down the standings, Dax, that I know a couple of the other teams thought were really good. That's Tom Yun-Koo, right? Yeah. Haven't quite made it onto match point yet, but why don't we have a look at some of their best moments throughout the season, because when we did those interviews with the top teams coming into this week, Dax, all 3 of them said that they thought Tom Yun-Koo were a strong chance to grab that golden ticket or even make their way into the top 5 via points.
Yeah, and I agree with everyone. Tom Yun-Koo still has that basis from EXO Clan. You have Asia, who is really slotted in and so well here with the rest of the Tom Yun-Koo roster, going back to that old name and going back to old form more and more as the weeks went by. I mentioned it so much earlier on. Effectively, they were always in the top 5 at the end of the standings in the group stages. Every single time you'd have a game from Tom Yun-Koo where they're able to perform and put themselves in a good spot. Now it's all up to them to get back into that train. And my concern early on was, is this the struggles from Tom Yun-Koo that we saw at the start of the season? Is this where they get caught too early in the rotation? They lose out on the fight. But later on, they've been picking their fights well. They've been timing things right on both World's Edge and Storm Point. And we saw in the last 2 games, they could have gotten that back-to-back, if not only for them getting caught out with the ultimate accelerations. And there's always that dual potential. This is one of the biggest highlights we saw here, effectively. Just the hip fire after Drill Claw. You notice that Tom Yun-Koo always puts up a fight against any other squad, whether it be AGL that we're seeing right now, whether it be Moist, whether it be Onyx, yeah, the clutch that you mentioned. This team has the history and has the firepower to do it. It's all about stringing the results, though, at the right time for them.
Yeah, I mean, that was an awesome clutch. Yeah, like you said, you know, popping the ult excel, you know, if they could have got it off, they were never going to get that off. I'm going to be real with you, man. That was, I think that was genuinely a misplay. With the time that was left, I yeah, this even if like they popped the ult accel, it was still like 12% away or something. I don't think they could have stalled that fight out for long enough, to be honest. I'm not sure if there was another play available to them, but you know, we saw them take a lot of damage after trying to wait that one out, and I think that was a little bit of the downfall in that final 3v3. So either way, after a reset, I think we're almost ready to get back into game.
Yeah, I feel so too, and there's still a chance for these teams to actually either finish this off right now or continue on. Storm points out yet again where we're gonna go, and Game 6 is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. One more than last time, maybe more that there is to come. Yet again, big shout outs to Buram United, who effectively extended play by hopping out of their building and catching out Onyx there. And speaking of Onyx, they're still running the Bangalore that we saw in terms of the adjustment on Shady. I'm looking at Moist and Dreamfire. I do believe that they're sticking around with the usual suspects for them. But early contest, one more time. Let's go to the usual northeast side where DNZ and ATL Wolves will find another battle as scheduled.
Oh man, they wouldn't let us down, would they? They wouldn't make us have to, you know, worry about a boring early game. No way, no how. Eternal hatred for each other, it seems like, from these two teams. And just not going to let this go like a dog with a bone. They want their POIs and they want them now. The vertical rage. The other thing we should note is, look at these comps, because at this point, basically these two teams are just playing to win the early game. So ADL Wolves go for Sia, Maggie, Horizon, and DNZ go for Bloodhound, Horizon, Pathfinder. I mean, just wild scenes here. I mean, you can understand Bloodhound, right? Because if you're playing the early game, you don't necessarily get that Seer ultimate up. So the early Bloodhound scans can be, not necessarily, but can be better than the early Seer scans.
No, I agree with you, especially just you know you're right on top of each other. One scan, suddenly you can sniff them out. So while everyone else is playing for LAN, DNZ and ADL Wolves are playing against each other. The gravity lift gonna be there yet again. ADL Wolves, so staying away this time. Not as much contact compared to the last game, but no one actually disengaging. Both ADL Wolves and DNZ staying their ground. This is one subscription you never want to opt out on. No HP though on the opposite end. ADL Wolves, they might find the chance there. Joker goes down, SA also down for the count. The only one left still standing, trying to get the hell away there. DNZ, will they survive for more? ADL Wolves though hunt them down, and DNZ lose out in the matchup yet again. Honestly, Gino, what's the standings now? Can I have a stat of the ADL versus DNZ matchup?
Yeah, I can't remember what the score is exactly, to be honest. Maybe someone in chat's got the chalkboard out and has been keeping it.
I think the last few have been for ADL.
Yes.
I think one of them was
Sure.
DNZ's. So let's just say 2-1 and call it there. Or whatnot. Can we go back to the game now? The real game?
Well, yeah, ADL Wolves, they get their chance to loot. I mean, I'm a little bit sad that we're not going to see how the, you know, the Bloodhound Pathfinder composition goes late game.
We'll find out. While we're watching IBG though, on Golden Stage, IBG this time around just trying to find a better start. They've been stifled so many times. Many expectations for them throughout this stage, but they've been struggling with the loss of Strafing Flame. We're watching Dreamfire though, just casually driving by the south side, moving towards Shipwall actually, and the ring already on Stormcatcher. Moist Esports in position on the POI itself, so quick rotation immediately from one of her top teams.
That's how they get to be top a lot of the time, is making those quick rotations and, you know, knowing the zones and just making sure that they, you know, if they have priority to them, at least. Obviously, you don't always get that opportunity, but in this instance, there they are. Ram just above MDY White at the moment, and yeah, a couple of teams locked up over here in that right side. Some other ones still fighting. This is over the IMC. We've got Wonton Dumpling, and they take out Eternal Photon. Very quick rotate from them. So, like, I guess this is part of the problem, right? With doing the IMC to start with. This is like, it's a big flag to everyone else. They know exactly where you are. They know exactly the timing on how long you're going to be in there. And I looked away from my screen for a second, so I didn't actually catch the start of that fight, but I'm assuming it was a void there from the horizon from Wonton Dumpling putting the gravity lift down on top of the IMC, because that's one of the best ways you can stop them flying out. And it makes it an easy fight win, oftentimes.
Yeah. And it's a rotation that Wonton Dumpling calls so early from the wall to the armory, knowing the fact that Eternal Photon is effectively sharing North Pad with SWQ. It's the only place that they're willing to play, but now the ring still northeast of the initial ring itself. Stormcatcher, Thunderwatch, something to watch out for. Moist Esports, Popcorn, Buram also in position already. Eventually, though, Ironblood Gaming didn't win out actually that fight there versus one of the squads they've been clashing with. Eddie's already down and out. No, Blackhand actually in position towards Launchpad as Golden Sage will survive only with Mobius and Phoenix. So effectively, we have a few duels on the outskirts, but it's really that into the ring transition that's what's going to be important right now for teams moving forward.
Yeah, certainly a lot of people clustering up on the eastern seaboard of Storm Point right now.
Storm's Point, Storm's Catcher.
Are there
a lot of ownership?
Plurals everywhere.
Yes, sir.
Moist Esport? No, that one.
No.
That's equally as
that
poor grammar.
Doesn't work because water is not water, right? How can you even quantify a single piece of water?
A droplet of water?
A droplet, but that's also still multiple. Anyway,
are we going to get into physics and start working
dude,
at what point things are still?
Exactly. This is why I'm in esports and not in science, not in mathematics. I'm happy to talk about video games all throughout with the rest of you. And, well, Onyx, yet again, we've seen these kind of rotations from them. It's something I think we noticed a while ago with the Bangalore. It's more hover in terms of the firefight itself, but less so in the rotation speed when you have the Valkyrie and the Wraith. So they rely on the Trident. They play it safe and look for the outskirts, knowing they just need to win it anyway to take the whole shebang here.
A couple other teams, looking to take it out, of course. Just to remind everybody, the three teams that are currently on match point are Dreamfire, Moist, and Onyx. And here is our #1 team, led by the King of Hearts himself, Roy.
Isn't he like the most famous player from his region, basically?
Probably. Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah.
Out of Taiwan and China. Yeah, I think so. I can't say I keep, a close eye on the Bilibili numbers or the Douyu TV numbers. The other streaming services. So I don't come across those quite as often, but I know he is extremely popular. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's a name that's pretty much known all throughout the region, all throughout the world, and X and Y. Yeah, everyone knows about it, but we know X and Y wants to go for contact too. Some of those early game frags to look forward to immediately here by the exits in the Jurassic Park. Meantime, though, the push comes to shove, and well, can X and Y finish the job off? Instead, Tonut fighting on back. SWQ with the action for themselves as well, desperate to survive here. They just want to make it towards the ring, but X and Y is burning down. Too many nades, not enough lives. It's SWQ who stands tall there.
Oh man, raining grenades at the end there, and as you said, yeah, hasn't picked up the extra hearts in Zelda and just doesn't make it out. They only have the 3, and that's not enough to get them in this game. The ring, of course, is we're getting another Stormcatcher-ish zone. Well, certainly a lot of teams reading it to the right of that. Moist included, who are generally a good weather vane for that kind of thing. Give you some indication.
They have the Tangerine building. They have the orange, I think.
Yep.
So at least they have a spot already onto the next ring compared to last time when it pulled left. So things looking better for Moist Esports. Also, I want to mention at least Blackhand, who's always outside of the ring in these instances. They're now 3 people. They have easy flashback, so they might be a threat later on into the game. We're watching inside the ring, though. Inside the next ring, too, they have taken the compound outside of Stormcatcher on the eastern side of Devil United. So we're gonna see these buildings more or less occupied as this ring closes.
Yeah, we're glad that Blackhand are back to their full component. I can tell you they've just scanned the survey beacon down at Shipfall, so you can see, you can't actually see them all the way south to your map here, but they know where everyone else is. And they're currently pinging places around Stormcatcher, trying to work out where the best place for them to sit is. And I can tell you they're indicating around Dreamfire right now, somewhere to, you know, sort of south of Stormcatcher is where they're thinking. And we'll be able to see them just take their... get in the whip and head up through the rest of Storm Point on that Trident. So yeah, look, looking at inside the ring here, it's got a nice little spot, and we like this because it's very close to where that's, you know, obviously where Dark Zero won as well, having lots of interesting throwbacks to some of APAC South's best moments when it comes to match point. And Dreamfire in the tunnels here, so they're sitting in the right fork of that. Blackhand, I can tell you, we're indicating in the left fork.
It's historical site basically, right? And well, maybe Dreamfire. Wonder what they're gonna run into this time. This has been one of their most incredible runs this split here, Genome, and I do wonder what the keys to their success are so far. They play the aggressive style, sure, but as of right now, yet again, playing it patient. They do notice though Blackhand coming nearby them.
Yeah, a couple teams still in the area. You know, we were talking about inside the ring being a bit further up. Dewa sort of over there. The ring continues to pull right or to the east. As you would say, but yeah, look, Blackhand, I don't think they're going to run into anyone just yet. They've still got some time. They're actually more worried about their backsides. They're actually looking to take out those other teams who are playing even more in the Storm than them. And I can tell you there's a couple. There's SWQ, who are currently looking at Golden Sage over in Jurassic Park. That's what we've got vision of now. AGL have only just made their way into the ring. There's still 3 teams in the ring to the north, as well as SWQ opens up onto GS.
Are they not done here, Jurassic Park? SWQ is still playing gatekeeper against Golden Sage this time, and Golden Sage is gone. The Prowler tried to help. It was on Team Golden Sage, but it still wasn't enough. SWQ will take it. IBG, though, they also have a bit of action right now as they notice that they go into conflict, but I believe that is 505 on the northern side of Command Center. Immediately, though, seems like kind of trying to go for the Modem. Max is already gonna get down there, but Player K, he's also keeping the advantage here for the side of IBG. 2v1 now. IBG hunting down the last remaining member of 505, still standing. The Seer is spotted. Jaro looking to go for that takedown into cover now, and it's Player K with the kill instead. 505 say goodbye as IBG survived the fight a little bit more now.
And this time it's Jaro with the advantage, having that gold armor in the ring fight. And also, seeing him on the wingman, definitely one of Jaro's better weapons and something, you know, historically he has been fantastic with. So maybe going back to a little bit of a comfort pick, who knows, maybe that's just what was available to him this time. Ooh, a bit of a Thunderwatch fight happening. So this is Onyx. They lose a knock, unfortunately. The high ground from ADL Wolves gives them the angles onto Raki. And that's putting a big hit in the plans of Onyx to finish this off in Game 6.
They stuck around so long there in Lightning Rod, and eventually the longer rotates of Onyx was caught out by the ADL Wolves. That's one down. Blackhand, though, in the meantime, also having a bit of contact here, looking at least to survive longer versus Wonton Dumpling there by Stormcatcher. Wonton Dumpling, though, the confirmation, can they actually get it? Popcorn now gonna get eliminated along the way. Blackhand will disengage. Easy Flash crawling now to try and get the relative safety in the bottom part. Stormcatcher here. So as it stands, they lose Boogie Shore. And while we have Wonton Dumpling slowly resetting, does Wonton Dumpling notice that Blackhand's nearby? They spot that Easy Flash. Strafing Flame has to hide and leave his members out to dry.
Still, you know, what was that, 6 I think they were sitting in, so it's been an okay day for Blackhand here, but you know, you need to be getting to match points soon if you really want to give yourself a good chance of taking out the win here. Not that Blackhand are too worried, maybe that's, you know, unlike Moist and Onyx, perhaps they're just not that locked in today because they know they've already made their way overseas. They don't have to worry quite as much.
and especially given the way this day has gone, it'll be difficult for them to overtake Onyx, and no matter what, I think the math is, even if Dreamfire wins this all, they still won't have enough to displace them from that third slot. So really, Black Hand right now, this is a good chance already to just scope out the competition even more so. We're watching IBG though, desperate for survival. Troll trying to stay on the line. Black Hand though, and Onyx gone already as IBG. There's Jaro looking for the mode down. Guild Tripping gonna get down here immediately. They want to go after Wonton Dumpling as soon as possible. They've had enough of the aggressive style of this squad. The gravity lift to put them back into the sidelines. Jaro though, already chipped on the way thanks to the third light. Takes the lift himself, but he'll be on the ground soon. Can we get Fana here to stay on alive? Try desperately to get back into cover, but Iron Blood Gaming will fall to their hands inside the ring, and Wonton Dumpling taking advantage of the situation. The Wolves also nearby here. Wonton Dumpling in cover, desperate to keep each other alive here between XDZ as well as the Horizon. And while this all happens, inside the ring is just so cozy internally.
They're feeling pretty happy over there. Onyx completely eliminated, by the way, in all of that, and the ring is pulling very much to Tom Young Kung. So Wonton Dumpling, you saw them, a little bit too hard of a reset for them to pull off this time. Inside the ring will clear them out and take that building back for just themselves. Dreamfire having a look at SWQ below. Meanwhile, over here, we've got Moist fighting up against AGL, who pushed in from the south, and Moist, I think, have got this one very much in hand.
AGL taking damage not only from Moist, but also MDY White sniping away yet again. This will already force the rest of AGL to back off. Olin getting the shield battery on, but has to disengage and leave his members, now leave his teammates behind as boxes. So Moist able to still stabilize and stay alive. SWQ eliminated along the way. And in all honesty, of all the teams right now, in terms of match point, Moist had the better read. There's still so many threats that we've seen from edge teams doing battle. ADL Wolves getting involved and effectively knocking out Onyx. You could see Wonton Dumpling was still a threat until they were slayed, and AGL also effectively gatekept. So Moist right now in a good spot. DF though, Dreamfire a chance still as the ring now looking to close down with the wall intact.
Oh, Dreamfire, they're right on the edge here. A couple of seconds to loot. They're really leaving it right until the end, aren't they? The Skyward Dive doesn't go off in time. So they're not taking zone damage. Oh, slightly mistimed, a little bit of lag, unfortunately. Well, you know, lag in them pulling off the Skyward Dive, not in the game lag. But they will just get into the ring. They're just ahead of ADL as well. This high ground position means Pete gets the R99 beam directly onto his head. And meanwhile, they're looking inside the ring. So I think ADL here are pretty much done for in this game.
Yeah, not just ahead, but above. Because they didn't notice that third player right on top of that tree. ADL lose one early. Moist Esports, though, Waltzy now gonna be down on the ground. Want to get back into cover. No real push there from MDY as well as inside the ring. They're whacking him back in position. Keep him alive. Dreamfire though losing on 3MZ. He's already eliminated here so far. Roy desperate to get the shield battery on. Hit inside the smoke even, but inside the ring. Do they push the issue? Moist though, go for the helping hand. Take down inside the ring along the way. This gives a little bit of chance to Dreamfire as they are trying to navigate towards the compound. But it's a rude awakening. Not only MDY, but Buram also there nearby.
Not only that, but now Moist are the only match point team with all three members alive. They get the reset off. MT's read of the zone was perfect. They knew they couldn't get the right-hand position the Tom Young Kung were already in. And they take the second best option available, taking the orange there down at the bottom. It's, you know, they've held off all comers there. A couple of 3v3s they've had to take here and win to maintain their position. And now they have given themselves the best chance out of any of these teams to finally take out the game.
And there you go. Goodbye, Dreamfire, and hello to the dreams of Moist Esports. Pricey with the takedown. Tom Young King getting involved as well. And not only that, they have a good handle of the next ring too. They have a compound to be utilized. They have a building for cover. Tom Young King, really their biggest threat nearby them.
Yeah, 4 squads left. Why don't we have a listen in and see if Moist can take out the regional finals in Game 6?
Need to let this team on the left come in.
We need to shoot them. We need to shoot them across.
Do we wall them off and force them to go their side?
They should just want to They should just want to go their side.
We need focus right. We need focus right. We need to take space now. Get aggressive so that other team can do something.
I'm on scan.
I'm on scan as well. Like, I should get res. We want to let left cross to them if possible.
We're really safe back here.
Yep.
They're scanning here. They might just run at us. They're gonna climb over.
They know
I'm staring it.
These guys are dead.
They're walling to them.
Look right, look right, look right.
I'm moving up on right.
Steer close, steer close.
Right side.
Zero, we burnt it. We can back up. We can back up. We don't have to.
Yeah, I'm chilling, I'm chilling.
Don't let them swing out back here. Come back.
Yeah. We want to just focus right. It's a draw on the left, is it not?
Does anyone have energy?
No.
Yeah.
Can you chuck me a little bit?
120.
I'll just sell there if he needs.
They're in this corner.
Tag run perp.
We got end zone, by the way. Right team doesn't have zero. I do.
Yeah, we just gotta make this left team go into the right team. Save your notes, save your notes. Can I walk up?
I'm getting Can you cue this team in the corner, maybe?
Yeah.
In here?
Spike strip here.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it in 2 seconds, 2 seconds.
I'm gonna nade them. Because otherwise they're just gonna run at us. I'm nading. Off the back of that.
I can zero.
No stuns, no stuns.
100 tag on each!
They got flash.
Right side. They're swinging down low.
Chill,
We're gonna look right, we're gonna look right. Knock on left, knock on left.
Zeroing. They're back.
Focus right, focus right, focus right. I got one knocked on the left.
I'm holding left. Just play slow, play slow. Left is trying to swing.
Yep.
Left is trying to swing me, guys.
Lukacs here again. I'm backing up, I'm backing up.
They're trying to push me.
We need chill, we need chill.
Yeah, no, pay, bro. Back on me.
Hey, back. Get the bat off and come back, come back.
I'm backing all the way up.
One shot, cat on left.
Batting, batting. You need a ripple right. You need a ripple right.
Don't have zero.
I walled.
Okay. Swing right.
All dead. Lost. Wait, no, not all dead. I just got a kill.
Darling.
We need to get ag on these guys right. They're all dead now.
I'm moving up.
80 on Valk. I think we move up on that.
Yeah.
Just go. Just swing.
Push it right.
40 on cat.
One shot here.
I
Dead. Tex, let's fucking go.
That's how we do it.
Let's go, baby!
Your undisputed champions of APAC South in year 3 of the ALGS. Moist take Split 2 just like they took Split 1 with a splendid performance to finish it off. It doesn't get any better than this team down under.
What a victory there from Moist. They took the regional finals last time. They took a map on the grandest stage in the LAN itself. And now, not only do they get the back-to-back regional finals, but they also take the whole split this time around. They are your undisputed champions. And in all honesty, no one can dispute that they are the best here in APAC South. Welcome to the throne. Give them the crown. It's Moist Esports on top. And you listened in, right? To the last fight. So well coordinated and well timed by Moist, but man, that one grenade that gave them golden, that two of them getting completely cracked up on the side of MDY White, it initially gave the side of Moist that advantage to play it back, to hold back when they needed to. And we saw that all day, right? That even from the first outing we saw from Moist, they wouldn't just rush on in, they'd make sure that they had the best opportunity to strike.
It was incredible, wasn't it? I mean, MDY White, they were kind of like this surprise package on the side. They were really struggling. They were getting hit by both teams, but they could have popped out at any time and just, you know, one-clipped one of the Moist guys, one-clipped one of the TYK guys and just swung it in their favor. Did the other two teams know that Moist was still alive? They probably should have if they were tracking team names. Obviously, you can't see the player names, but when the team gets eliminated, you can see them. So they should have known that one of the match point teams was still alive. And at that point, it's kind of your job to work that out and try and work out how you can make sure that you take them out to keep the game alive, to keep the series going, but they can't. Moist are just too good, even with Tom Young Kum coming at them, swinging down from the right side. you know, they were in a little bit of a rough position there, but TYK, I think with their armor swaps, you know, uncharacteristic of the end of the game, they were on some blues and that sort of stuff, so it was a little bit hard for them to take the fight straight up. And Moist, as you can see, were just in a commanding position and started to really, you know, circle in on them, yeah, as you said, after they started getting that big grenade at the start.
Yeah, this was one from Walty, and then the Arc Stars too to keep the pressure on. Moist Esports, they play that so well. It's unfortunate for Kelby and Kung. It seems like once they're put in that last 1v1 state, that's where they do fall on apart. And Moist, of course, so consistent, so able, and so willing for the victory. They take the whole thing. They take this last map, obviously, here. So it took them one more map compared to last time. No back-to-back-to-back necessary, but with the fall of Onyx early on, as well as them catching out Dreamfire there, transitioning to the compound, it was all laid out for Moist Esports and their victory.
Incredible from them. Ah! Look who we've got here with us. Is it not the back-to-back champions of APAC South? It's Moist Esports Pricey. Mate, that was yet again an incredible regional finals from you guys. You... Okay, well, I could hear Pricey. I'm not sure if...
He's here with us.
If the stream can... Right now, I'm hearing in my eyes. Look, all right. Well, I'll calm down for just half a second, Pricey. We'll talk to you as soon as the director gives us the okay there. But damn, it's gonna be really exciting to get his thoughts right after the moment on just you know, how well they've done yet again.
I thought you were that excited already. Gino went to his doorstep, threw away the clipboard, and just gave him the crown instead. But of course, the standings, they do matter. And at the very end, it's Moist Esports on top with 84 points. Dreamfire, though, the runner-up slot yet again. But I do believe with this position, they are going to land. They are moving on. And of course, since Moist Esports won this right now, this allows the 5th placing team to actually go to land as well. So this is where I'm really excited. Who's going to take that last slot? So it's Moist, Onyx, Black Hand, Dreamfire, and I wonder who's left there. Who's going to London?
We'll have to wait and find that out, won't we? Yeah, look, it's gonna be very exciting, that 5th place spot. Was that do we have the interview ready? Okay, I think we are about to start hearing from Pricey. Can you hear us, sir?
Hello?
Oh,
hello.
Wait, was that Dax? That's Pricey. Mate, you've won 2 split regional finals in a row. How do you keep turning up when all the pressure is on you?
Right. I don't know. We just take scripts seriously, play like how we will on game day, and it just, you know, comes to fruition when push comes to shove, and we just play our game.
It's so incredible how you guys have really upped the standard. So I guess my question right now is, compared to Split 1, where you really needed that monster performance in the regional finals, right? This time around, you already went out of the gate strong. So what has changed between Split 1 and Split 2 in terms of Moist Esports?
We had more, obviously, after London, we had a lot more experience as a team playing together, coming 6th. So just going into Split 2, we were a lot more cohesive as a unit. And between Split 1 and Split 2, being able to come into playoffs and not having to worry about, are we going to qual? It's just a really good feeling.
Yeah, and I think beyond that, honestly, not even just having to not worry about qualling, but the entire way through the split, you guys have just looked so much more confident, and frankly, just so much better than most of the rest of our region. You know, does that mean going into the Split 2 playoffs that you guys are going to carry that confidence in it and you know, better your results of 6th from the Split 1 playoffs?
Yeah, that's definitely the plan. We're planning on just winning. We just want to win as much as we can, and like right now we're on a high of just like steamrolling everything. Every fight we go into, we just like Walty's just dominating. I'm hitting decent shots as well. MT's just the GOAT zone caller and puts us into position every game. So like, sorry if my voice is dying, by the way. I've been screaming all day.
Oh, we could hear it and listen in. And honestly, when you hear you guys, you're so I'd say energized all the time. But when we listen to you two, we kind of hear when you guys want to push but then pull back. What really is the thought process there? How do you guys call when exactly to go on the opposition? Because we saw, especially in the 2 maps that you won, it was that kind of call that gave you the win in the first place.
Are you talking about the one down beast where we were pushing ADL and we just kept backing up and pushing and backing up?
Yeah, that works too. It's pretty much the same thing.
I mean, we just plan it out. We've got like 3 really good fucking players on our team, and we know how to play off each other. All of us are able to call these types of things. So if one of us call it and the other 2 like disagree, then we'll just call it off. But I don't know. We just work it like everyone calls whatever if they see something.
Yeah, and I gotta say, that's been one of the most interesting things listening to you guys, just popping into Waltzy's stream for scrims and stuff. I know his stream was popping off today. Awesome to see you guys and him getting that support as well. And you guys definitely, this split and this year even, I think there's just so much cohesion in the team, and as you said, all 3 of you are calling, right? Like, I know IGL, the MT is the IGL, right? And he's definitely calling the zones and that. But yeah, do you think that's made you better as a team? It's not like there's too much conflict or, people are calling over each other, but you're all just really kind of adding something on with the high amount of communication that's coming from all 3 of you?
Yeah, definitely. MT is like top of the hierarchy when it comes to calling. And then if we're looking at fights and how we should play fights, usually MT, Waltzy, and I have all our input put into it. Because Waltzy's really good at calling fights, and he's been like calling a lot more fights more recently and in scrims and everything. So I'm just putting my faith in both of them to point me in the right direction and just to just kill whatever.
It's insane that you guys have such honestly a democratic system when other teams just listen to one voice and that's pretty much it. So really, what is next for Moist Esports? Obviously, you guys are going to LAN. You guys said that you wanna win it all, but how's gonna be the prep work? How are you guys gonna get ready for facing off against the best competition in the world?
Well, it's gonna be more boot camping, and because since they removed Cascade Balls Beacon in the most recent patch, we're gonna have to fight for an actual POI now. So that's going to be a lot of our LAN prep. It's just finding out where we're going to go, who we have to smoke on contest, and then the rest of the boot camping will be designing macro, micro.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. Yeah, certainly with that going down, Jurassic Park getting removed in terms of beacons and stuff, it definitely has changed, I think, how those top lobbies are going to look, because there's not a landslide, again, is another one where it's, a place where you could go as a team who didn't necessarily want to contest that much, but just wanted to hard rotate like we've seen you guys do to success as well. Look, we had a chat earlier in the week, Pricey. And we'll put that full interview up on the YouTube later for anyone wants to listen to that. It was a great little chat. And one of the things you said was that you really wanted to win today because somehow amongst all your success, amongst being the best team in the region for quite some time now, you yourself have not won a trophy yet, mate. And here you go. Finally, you've got something to hang your hat on.
Finally, I've finally done it. I'm still shaking. I'm over the moon about it. I couldn't ask for a better team.
Yeah, and look, honestly, I don't think APAC South could ask for a better team to represent us overseas as well. It's been so great to watch you guys just get better and better. Each LAN you played, talking about going away after Sweden, getting re-picked back up by the team, and just the level that you've reached now is honestly phenomenal. Anything else you want to close this out with, Dax?
Honestly, I was just thinking, I wonder if Genome's the one who will hand deliver the trophy to Pricey. And then you're gonna have that picture. You're gonna have that handshake, and he's like,
I wish.
You've done it. Would you want that, Pricey? We'd want Genome to show up just to give you the trophy.
I don't know. If I take a photo with him, he's gonna make me look like I'm 5'2".
Yeah, that does happen. It's fine. I'll we could chill on the couch or something into it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, look, congratulations, Pricey. It's a phenomenal day, and considering how much as we talk about, RNG is in a battle royale. The fact that you guys have come out back to back, is just such an incredible achievement. Congrats to all three of you.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
All right,
Big
Dax.
thanks. I love hearing from them. And we honestly learned a lot more than I honestly expected. I was just like, maybe how you guys feeling? How was the win? And you could see that they're already looking forward to the future. They know that LAN needs preparation. They immediately talked about what they need to change moving forward. And I feel like that's one of the best things that we have right now from Moist Esports. It's not just that, okay, we've won APAC South. That's pretty much it. They know that they need to keep improving to do what, honestly, Dark Zero has done in the past.
Yeah, they know the real battle is yet to come, right? I mean, for them, winning APAC South is almost expected to some level, right? Okay. It sounds like we are about to find out for sure. Okay. This is how our first lobby went, of course. With the 6 matches, I think it was in the end, that Moist managed to win it out in Dreamfire. Was so close behind Onic the whole time. They were hoping, as we heard from Fussy, that it felt like it was the battle between them and Moist for who could be the best team in the region. Moist once again have proved it. And then we had all these other teams down the bottom duking it out, kind of hoping that they could make it through and grab that 4th or 5th spot at LAN. Because with Moist coming first, no golden ticket, right? They just kind of win outright on points. They take away the $10,000. And we will have 2 other teams picking up those tickets in addition to Blackhand and Onic right now. We are going to get that confirmation right now, Dax. Who is joining them? Dreamfire in 4th. You know him, you love him. Roy, 3MZ, and Pete. And MDY White by the skin of their teeth. It's been what a ride for these guys in Split 2. Feiju, Mingyue, and LD just scrape in above Tom Young Kung. Obviously a team that a lot of people were predicting to make it in, and they almost managed to today, but it's just by a Skerrick. MDY White will get their first crack at a LAN.
It's a heartbreaker for Tom Young Kung. I was thinking about it the whole time. Was that enough points to make it and break into the top 5 versus MDY White? But MDY White surviving longer there in the last game, at least keeping themselves in terms of the points. The second places from Tom Young Kung, that might have hurt them in the long run. And really for Tom Young Kung, there were so many what ifs this whole split. The second place, as I mentioned, this regional finals, but all the way back at the very start, the low placing that they had then, it wasn't enough. And really, the points themselves speak volumes. Big congratulations though to Dreamfire and MDY White joining our confirmed slots already. It was a done deal from Dreamfire with the way they played today. And before anything else, before we end here, there's one thing I'm really gonna miss, Genome. I'm gonna miss the matchup between the Wolves as well as what we kept seeing again and again in every single map. They took it to 11, and I'm so sad that we're gonna be gone from that fight that we've seen over and over again for the past few weeks.
You never know. We've still got the last chance qualifiers, right?
That's
which will
true.
determine 2 other teams in addition to those 5 from APAC South that will be heading over to London for the championships. That'll be a bit later on, probably still a couple of months away. But you never know. If ADL Wolves and DNZ are there, we could see them go back at it. Look, either way, that's pretty much it from us here at Longshot, guys. It's been a fantastic year 3. Thanks for everyone who tuned in, who supported us, supported the region. It's been so much fun. We've had a great crew working on it here too. So a big shout out to everyone who's worked with us on stats, observing, directing, behind the scenes, in front of the camera. So many people from OCE, APAC, and also around the world that have actually helped us out this time to help us put on the best show possible. But of course, it's the teams that are going to continue that show as they make their way to London for the Split 2 playoffs and then the championships. So I hope you guys are also ready to tune into Play Apex's Twitch and watch and celebrate the APAC South teams and players as we once again look to take away one of those LAN trophies.
Let's go, APAC South. Come on, let's be the best region this time around. When people say we're second best, some people even say we're less than that, but no, this small region has such a big impact on the world stage, and I cannot wait for the upcoming LAN, for the upcoming finals, and of course, down the line, more and more opportunities to come. But honestly, that's it for us. We got a full set this time. We got those 6 maps, but it is the end of the road here in Split 2. We'll see you guys on the other side, all the way in LAN here from the Longshot crew. We say thank you to you. Signing out on the APAC South side, it's time for us to bid you guys goodbye. Have a good day.